If you enjoyed this audiobook, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Sharing it with your friends and family helps spread knowledge, and when we help others grow, we grow too. Thank you so much for listening. Let's dive into the book. Chapter 1, The 4 Paths to Money. Part 1, Why Your Job Won't Make You Rich. The promise of a steady paycheck and job security has been sold to millions as the path to financial stability. Yet mounting evidence reveals a harsh reality. Traditional employment systematically limits your wealth-building potential. While your job provides immediate income to cover expenses, the structural design of employee compensation creates barriers that prevent most workers from achieving true financial independence. This exploration examines why the employee path, despite its apparent safety, often leads to decades of financial struggle, eroding purchasing power, and retirement insecurity. Understanding these limitations is the first step toward recognizing alternative paths that wealthy individuals have used for generations to build lasting wealth outside the traditional employment model. Traditional employment operates on a simple but limiting principle. You trade hours for dollars. This exchange seems fair until you realize it creates an income ceiling that cannot be easily broken. Sarah, a marketing manager at a Fortune 500 company, discovered this limitation after 15 years of steady promotions. Despite earning a 6-figure salary, she found herself living paycheck to paycheck, unable to save substantial amounts for retirement or emergencies. Her time was finite, and her earning potential was directly tied to the hours she could work. The mathematics of inflation reveals another crucial flaw in the employment model. While average salary increases hover around 3% annually, real inflation often exceeds this rate significantly. Food, housing, healthcare, and education costs have outpaced wage growth for decades. A teacher earning $50,000 in 2000 would need approximately $80,000 today to maintain the same purchasing power, yet most teaching salaries have not kept pace with this requirement. Consider how this affects your financial future. Are you earning more money than 5 years ago, or are you simply earning money that buys less than it used to? Tax structure represents another significant disadvantage for employees. Payroll taxes are automatically deducted before you see your paycheck, giving you no opportunity to reduce your tax burden through legal strategies available to business owners and investors. Employees face the highest tax rates, paying income tax, Social Security, Medicare, and often state taxes on their gross earnings. Business owners, by contrast, pay taxes only after deducting legitimate business expenses. Corporate downsizing has become a standard business practice, eliminating the job security that once justified accepting these limitations. Technology companies that employed thousands in the 1990s now operate with lean teams, automating many functions previously handled by human workers. Even successful companies regularly conduct layoffs to improve profit margins, regardless of employee performance or loyalty. The disappearance of pension plans has shifted retirement risk from employers to employees. Previous generations could rely on defined benefit pensions that guaranteed monthly income for life. Today's workers must fund their own retirement through 401k plans, assuming investment risk and often contributing inadequate amounts due to budget constraints. Many reach retirement age with insufficient savings to maintain their standard of living. The rise of contract work without benefits further erodes the employment value proposition. Companies increasingly hire contractors to avoid providing health insurance, paid time off, or retirement contributions. These workers face higher taxes as self-employed individuals, while lacking the business deductions available to true business owners. Middle-class squeeze data illustrates how employment income has failed to keep pace with wealth accumulation needs. Median household income has stagnated when adjusted for inflation, while costs for housing, healthcare, and education have skyrocketed. The middle class owns a smaller percentage of total wealth today than in previous decades, despite higher education levels and productivity gains. Psychological conditioning reinforces the employee mindset through cultural messages about job security and benefits. Parents encourage children to get a good job with a stable company, creating mental associations between employment and financial safety. This conditioning makes it difficult to recognize when employment becomes a financial trap rather than a stepping stone to wealth. Robert, an experienced engineer, exemplifies this conditioning. Despite earning a substantial salary for 20 years, a corporate restructuring eliminated his position at age 55. His specialized skills translated poorly to the current job market, and age discrimination made finding equivalent employment challenging. His savings, modest despite decades of steady income, could not sustain his family's lifestyle during the extended job search period. The time for money trap becomes most apparent when employees cannot work. Illness, injury, or family emergencies immediately threaten income stability. Vacation time is limited and often unpaid beyond a few weeks annually. This model provides no income growth during non-working periods, unlike business ownership or investment income that can compound continuously. Think about your current situation. If you stopped working tomorrow, how long could you maintain your current lifestyle with existing savings? Modern workplace realities include longer hours for the same pay, increased job responsibilities without proportional compensation, and constant connectivity expectations that blur work-life boundaries. Many employees work 50 to 60 hours weekly while receiving 40 hours of compensation, effectively reducing their hourly wage below initial calculations. The gig economy, often marketed as entrepreneurship, frequently represents disguised employment with fewer protections. Uber drivers, freelance writers, and delivery workers trade time for money just like traditional employees, but without health insurance, paid time off, or retirement contributions. They assume business risks while maintaining employee-level earning limitations. Healthcare costs represent a growing burden for employed individuals. Even with employer-sponsored insurance, out-of-pocket expenses for deductibles, co-payments, and uncovered services consume increasing portions of household budgets. A serious illness can quickly exhaust savings, demonstrating the fragility of employee financial security. Global competition now affects domestic employment across all skill levels. Companies can outsource accounting, customer service, programming, and even legal work to lower-cost international providers. This competition places downward pressure on wages, while increasing job insecurity for domestic workers. The education debt burden has reached crisis levels, with many graduates starting careers with substantial loan payments that consume significant portions of entry-level salaries. This debt load extends the time required to build wealth, sometimes by decades, while interest payments redirect money that could otherwise fund investments. Corporate loyalty has become largely one-directional, with companies expecting dedication from employees while providing minimal job security in return. Long-term employees often discover their experience counts for little during layoffs, as companies prioritize short-term cost savings over institutional knowledge. Economic downturns reveal the vulnerability of employment-dependent individuals. The 2008 financial crisis and 2020 pandemic demonstrated how quickly job markets can collapse, leaving millions of experienced workers competing for fewer positions. Those who built wealth through employment alone often found themselves financially devastated. Breaking free from employee thinking requires recognizing these limitations and actively seeking alternatives. Wealthy individuals understand that true financial security comes from owning assets that generate income independently of personal time investment. While employment can provide initial capital and skill development, it should not be viewed as the primary path to wealth accumulation. The employee path offers immediate income and apparent security, but these benefits come with significant long-term costs. Understanding these limitations is essential for anyone seeking to build substantial wealth and achieve genuine financial independence. Part 2. The Employee Trap in the Digital Age. Modern technology promised to make work easier and create more opportunities for everyone. Instead, it has created new challenges that make traditional employment increasingly risky and unstable. Digital transformation has fundamentally changed how companies operate, often at the expense of workers who find themselves competing not just locally, but globally. The rise of artificial intelligence, automation, and the gig economy has created what appears to be more flexibility, but actually delivers less security and stability than ever before. Understanding these digital age employment traps is crucial for anyone seeking financial independence in today's rapidly changing world. The automation revolution has moved far beyond factory floors. Sarah, a bookkeeper with 15 years of experience, watched her firm eliminate 3 positions when they adopted automated accounting software. What once required human analysis and input now happens with a few clicks. Her remaining colleagues handle twice the workload for the same pay, knowing that their jobs could disappear next. This pattern repeats across industries. Customer service representatives lose jobs to chatbots. Radiologists find their work replaced by AI diagnostic systems. Even lawyers see routine document review automated away. The McKinsey Global Institute estimates that 375 million workers worldwide will need to change occupations due to automation by 2030. Have you considered how automation might affect your current role in the next 5 years? The answer might surprise you. Jobs that seemed secure just a decade ago now face displacement from technology that improves exponentially each year. The gig economy presents itself as liberation from traditional employment constraints. Companies like Uber, TaskRabbit, and Fiverr promote stories of people earning extra income on their own schedule. The reality proves more complicated. Marcus drove for a ride-sharing service expecting flexible income. After calculating gas, car maintenance, insurance, and taxes, his hourly earnings fell below minimum wage. He had no health benefits, paid vacation, or job security. Gig workers face the worst aspects of both employment and business ownership. They have little control over pricing, no employee protections, and bear all the business risks. When demand drops or algorithms change, their income disappears instantly. The promised flexibility often means working more hours for less money than traditional employment would provide. Remote work initially seemed like a victory for employees. No commute, flexible schedules, and better work-life balance appeared within reach. However, companies quickly realized they could hire equally qualified workers from anywhere in the world. John, a graphic designer in New York, found himself competing with talented professionals from countries with much lower living costs. His salary stagnated while his workload increased. Global competition has created downward pressure on wages across many professions. Why pay a local developer premium rates when skilled programmers in other countries deliver similar quality for half the cost? This race to the bottom affects not just technical roles, but any work that can be performed remotely. Technology has erased the boundaries between work and personal life. Email notifications arrive at midnight. Slack messages interrupt family dinners. The expectation of constant availability means many employees work far more hours than their contracts specify, without additional compensation. Lisa, a marketing manager, calculated that she averaged 60 hours per week when including evening emails and weekend calls, yet received salary for 40 hours. Social media platforms have become additional unpaid work requirements. Employees must maintain professional online presence, network constantly, and sometimes promote their companies on personal accounts. This digital labor remains uncompensated while consuming significant time and mental energy. How many hours do you actually work when including emails, calls, and digital tasks outside traditional office hours? Most people underestimate their true time investment in employment. The subscription economy has fundamentally changed how consumers spend money, often to their detriment. Instead of buying software once, people pay monthly fees that add up to far more than traditional purchases. Microsoft Office once cost a few $100s for years of use. Now Office 365 requires annual payments that exceed the old purchase price every few years. This model extends beyond software. Cars, entertainment, fitness, food delivery, and even household items now come with subscription fees. Companies prefer this approach because it creates predictable revenue streams and higher lifetime customer value. Consumers often fail to track these recurring expenses, which can easily total hundreds of dollars monthly. Traditional education has failed to adapt to rapidly changing job markets. Universities still prepare students for careers that existed decades ago, while ignoring emerging opportunities. Computer science programs teach programming languages that companies no longer use. Business schools emphasize corporate ladder climbing when entrepreneurship and digital marketing skills prove more valuable. The skills gap between what schools teach and what employers need continues widening. By the time educational institutions update curricula, industry requirements have shifted again. Students graduate with debt and degrees that provide little practical value in modern job markets. Workers trapped in this system face constant pressure to upgrade skills while maintaining full-time employment. Evening courses, weekend certifications, and online training become necessary just to remain employable. This continuous learning requirement effectively extends working hours without additional compensation. Breaking free from these digital age employment traps requires recognizing them first. The old model of getting education, finding a job, and working until retirement no longer provides security or wealth. Technology continues accelerating change, while traditional employment becomes increasingly unstable and unrewarding. Successful wealth builders understand that employment serves as a temporary stepping stone, not a destination. They use employment income to fund investments, start businesses, or develop skills that create multiple income streams. They recognize that trading time for money has fundamental limitations that technology and globalization have made worse, not better. The path forward involves developing financial literacy, building assets that generate passive income, and creating systems that work independently of personal time investment. This mindset shift from employee to investor and business owner becomes essential for anyone seeking financial independence in the digital age. Part 3. Self-employment versus true business ownership. Understanding the difference between self-employment and true business ownership represents one of the most critical distinctions in building lasting wealth. Most people who believe they own businesses actually work harder and longer hours than traditional employees, trapped in what appears to be freedom, but functions as an expensive form of self-imposed employment. This section reveals the essential characteristics that separate genuine business ownership from glorified freelancing, providing practical strategies for building systems that generate income without your constant presence. You'll discover how to transform from being the bottleneck in your operation to creating scalable systems that work while you sleep, along with real-world examples of successful transitions from doing everything yourself to building true wealth-generating enterprises. The fundamental problem with most small business owners is that they have created jobs for themselves rather than businesses. Sarah, a talented graphic designer, left her corporate job to start her own design agency. 3 years later, she works 70 hours per week, earns less per hour than her previous salary, and cannot take a vacation without losing clients. When Sarah gets sick, her income stops completely. She owns a job, not a business. True business ownership means your enterprise generates income whether you show up or not. Ray Kroc understood this principle when he built McDonald's. He did not create the best hamburgers. He created the best system for making hamburgers consistently. Each McDonald's location operates using documented procedures that any trained person can follow. The business runs on systems, not individual talent or presence. Consider the difference between a successful restaurant owner and a chef who opens their own restaurant. The chef often becomes trapped working every service, managing inventory, and handling customer complaints. Their income depends entirely on their personal involvement. In contrast, the restaurant owner develops standard recipes, trains managers, creates inventory systems, and builds processes that operate without their daily oversight. One owns a job, the other owns a business. What defines your current relationship with your work? Do you control your income, or does your presence determine your earnings? The self-employment trap catches professionals across every industry. Lawyers who start their own practices often work more hours than when they were associates. They handle every client personally, write every brief, and appear in every hearing. Their income scales linearly with their time investment. Successful law firm owners, however, hire other attorneys, develop case management systems, and focus on business development while their team handles the daily legal work. Consulting represents perhaps the most common disguised form of employment. Management consultants charge high hourly rates and feel entrepreneurial, but they trade time for money just like employees. They cannot scale beyond their personal capacity. True business owners in consulting create methodologies, train other consultants, and develop intellectual property that generates recurring revenue through licensing or subscription models. The transition from self-employment to business ownership requires a fundamental mindset shift. Instead of asking, "How can I do this work faster?" the business owner asks, "How can I create a system so someone else can do this work?" This shift from working in your business to working on your business separates wealth builders from high-paid workers. Franchising provides an excellent example of systematized business ownership. Successful franchise operations depend on documented procedures, training programs, and quality control systems. The franchise owner focuses on managing the system rather than performing the daily tasks. They can own multiple locations because each operates independently of their personal involvement. Digital businesses offer unprecedented opportunities for systematic scaling. Software companies create products once and sell them thousands of times. Online course creators develop content that educates students automatically. E-commerce businesses use automation for inventory management, customer service, and order fulfillment. These models generate income while owners focus on growth and improvement rather than daily operations. Building true business ownership starts with documenting every process in your current operation. Create step-by-step procedures for tasks you perform regularly. This documentation becomes the foundation for training others and ensures consistency regardless of who performs the work. Many business owners resist this step because they believe their personal touch makes the difference. In reality, systematization often improves quality while reducing dependence on any individual. How much of your business knowledge exists only in your head? And what would happen to your income if you were unavailable for a month? Hiring represents the next critical step in transitioning from self-employment to business ownership. Start with tasks that drain your time but do not require your specific expertise. Administrative work, customer service, and routine production tasks often provide the best initial opportunities for delegation. The goal is not just reducing your workload but creating positions that others can perform independently. Training systems determine whether delegation succeeds or fails. Effective business owners develop comprehensive training programs that teach new team members not just what to do, but how to think about problems and make decisions. This training investment pays dividends by reducing supervision requirements and enabling consistent performance across the organization. Technology accelerates the transition from personal involvement to systematic operation. Customer relationship management systems track interactions and automate follow-up communications. Project management software coordinates team activities without constant oversight. Financial systems generate reports and manage cash flow automatically. These tools replace the business owner's personal involvement with systematic processes. The measurement of true business ownership lies in passive income generation. Can your business operate profitably for 30 days without your involvement? Does your income continue during vacations or illness? These questions reveal whether you own a business or simply work for yourself under the illusion of entrepreneurship. Many business owners fear losing control when they systematize operations. They worry that delegating important functions will reduce quality or create problems. However, well-designed systems often produce more consistent results than personal involvement. McDonald's serves billions of customers with predictable quality because their systems eliminate the variability of individual performance. Building business ownership requires patience and upfront investment in systems and people. The transition period often feels inefficient as you train others and develop procedures. However, this investment creates the foundation for scalable growth and eventual financial independence. The alternative is remaining trapped in high-paying self-employment that limits your wealth-building potential and personal freedom. Real business ownership transforms your role from doing the work to improving the systems that do the work. This transformation opens possibilities for multiple businesses, passive income streams, and the freedom to pursue opportunities that pure self-employment cannot provide. Part 4. From active income to passive wealth. The shift from active to passive income represents the most critical transition in building lasting wealth. While active income demands your constant presence and effort, passive income works independently, growing your wealth even while you sleep. Understanding these income types and building diverse passive streams transforms your financial future from perpetual work dependency to true economic freedom. This transformation requires initial effort and strategic planning, but the compound effects create exponential wealth growth that active income alone cannot match. Most people spend their entire careers trapped in active income cycles. They trade hours for dollars, whether as employees earning salaries or self-employed individuals billing for their time. This model has a fundamental flaw. It stops when you stop. Sarah, a successful lawyer billing $400 per hour, discovered this limitation when a skiing accident left her unable to work for 6 months. Despite her high hourly rate, her income dropped to zero because she wasn't actively working. Active income includes salaries, wages, tips, and fees for services performed. The IRS taxes this income at the highest rates, and it requires your physical or mental presence to generate. Even highly paid professionals remain on this treadmill because their income depends entirely on their continued effort. Portfolio income bridges the gap between active and passive earning. This includes capital gains from selling investments, dividend payments from stocks, and interest from bonds or savings accounts. While portfolio income doesn't require daily work, it does need active management and decision-making about when to buy, sell, or rebalance investments. True passive income operates independently once established. Rental properties generate monthly rent payments, royalties flow from intellectual property, and well-structured businesses produce profits without constant owner involvement. The key difference lies in the system's ability to function without your direct participation. Consider Mark, a software engineer who spent 2 years creating an online course about programming fundamentals. After the initial development work, his course generates $8,000 monthly in sales through automated systems. Students purchase and access the content without Mark's involvement, creating genuine passive income that compounds as he develops additional courses. Real estate investment offers one of the most accessible passive income paths. Jennifer purchased a duplex for $180,000, living in one unit while renting the other for $1,200 monthly. The rental income covers most of her mortgage payment while she builds equity in the property. As property values increase and rental rates rise, her passive income grows without additional time investment. What percentage of your current income comes from passive sources? This question reveals where you stand on the wealth-building spectrum. Dividend-paying stocks provide another passive income stream. Companies like Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, and Procter & Gamble have paid dividends for decades, providing investors with quarterly income payments. By reinvesting these dividends to purchase additional shares, investors compound their wealth through both dividend growth and share price appreciation. Modern technology creates new passive income opportunities. Creating digital products, building affiliate marketing systems, or developing mobile applications can generate ongoing revenue streams. Tom built a simple budgeting app that earns $3,000 monthly through premium subscriptions, requiring only occasional updates and customer support. However, passive income isn't truly passive in the beginning. Building these systems requires significant upfront effort, whether researching real estate markets, developing digital products, or learning about dividend investing strategies. The initial work investment pays dividends through years of automated income generation. Tax advantages make passive income even more attractive. Rental property owners can depreciate their buildings, deduct maintenance expenses, and often pay lower tax rates on profits. Dividend income typically receives preferential tax treatment compared to ordinary wages. These tax benefits effectively increase your after-tax return on passive investments. The wealthy understand these tax advantages and structure their finances accordingly. They minimize high-taxed active income while maximizing lower-taxed passive income streams. This strategy reduces their overall tax burden while building wealth more efficiently than high-earning employees who pay maximum tax rates. Reinvestment accelerates passive income growth through compound effects. Instead of spending passive income on lifestyle expenses, successful wealth builders reinvest these earnings into additional income-producing assets. This creates exponential growth as new investments generate their own passive income streams. How would your life change if passive income covered your basic living expenses? This financial milestone represents true freedom from active work requirements. Common misconceptions about passive income create unrealistic expectations. Many people believe passive income requires zero ongoing effort, but successful passive income streams need periodic attention. Rental properties require maintenance and tenant management, dividend portfolios need periodic rebalancing, and digital products require occasional updates. Rachel transformed her financial life by building multiple passive income streams over 7 years. Starting with a rental property, she reinvested the rental income to purchase additional properties. Simultaneously, she built a blog that generates affiliate marketing income and created digital courses about personal finance. Today, her combined passive income exceeds $12,000 monthly, allowing her to leave corporate employment. The transition timeline varies based on starting capital and chosen strategies. Real estate investment might require several years to build substantial passive income, while digital products can generate income more quickly but may require technical skills development. Dividend investing grows slowly but steadily, requiring patience and consistent reinvestment. Building passive wealth requires strategic planning and patience. Start by selecting one passive income vehicle that matches your skills and interests. Focus on building that stream consistently before diversifying into additional areas. The goal is creating multiple income sources that collectively exceed your living expenses, providing true financial independence and the freedom to pursue meaningful work rather than necessary work. Chapter 2: Escaping the Left Side, Part 1: Breaking Free from the Paycheck Prison. Traditional employment creates a powerful psychological trap that extends far beyond simply receiving a regular paycheck. The comfort of knowing exactly when money will arrive, how much it will be, and what benefits come with it creates a dependency that becomes harder to break with each passing year. This mental conditioning runs so deep that many people never seriously consider alternatives, even when their current situation leaves them financially vulnerable and professionally unfulfilled. This section provides a roadmap for recognizing these psychological barriers and developing practical strategies to gradually reduce dependence on employment income while building sustainable alternatives. The paycheck mindset creates several invisible chains that keep people trapped in situations that limit their financial potential. First, there's the illusion of security that comes with regular income. Most employees believe their job provides stability. Yet corporate layoffs, industry disruptions, and economic downturns prove this security is largely imaginary. Consider the thousands of retail workers who lost their jobs when companies like Sears, Radio Shack, and Blockbuster went out of business, or the newspaper journalists whose entire industry was transformed by digital media. The second chain is what psychologists call golden handcuffs, the benefits and perks that make leaving seem financially impossible. Health insurance, retirement contributions, paid vacation, and stock options create a package that appears valuable, but often costs more than employees realize. Many people calculate only their salary when considering career changes, ignoring that entrepreneurs and business owners can often obtain better benefits at lower costs through professional associations and direct purchasing. The third psychological barrier is the comfort of having financial decisions made by someone else. Employees don't need to worry about cash flow management, tax planning, or revenue generation because their employer handles these complexities. This convenience comes at a steep price: the complete surrender of control over one's financial destiny. Breaking free begins with honest financial analysis. Calculate your true hourly wage by dividing your annual after-tax income by the total hours you spend on work-related activities. Include commuting time, unpaid overtime, work-related reading, and evening emails. For many professionals, this calculation reveals they're earning far less per hour than they imagined. A marketing manager earning $60,000 annually might think she makes about $29 per hour, but when she includes her daily 2-hour commute and frequent evening work, her real rate drops to about $18 per hour. The next step involves building what successful entrepreneurs call bridge income, alternative revenue sources you can develop while still employed. This might include freelance writing, consulting in your area of expertise, selling products online, or creating digital courses. The key is choosing activities that complement rather than compete with your current employment and that can eventually replace your salary. Start small and grow systematically. If you're a software developer, you might begin by taking on weekend programming projects for small businesses. As your client base grows and your reputation improves, you can gradually increase your rates and workload. This approach allows you to test your market, develop business skills, and build confidence without risking your primary income source. How often do you find yourself making financial decisions based on fear rather than opportunity? This question reveals one of the biggest obstacles to breaking free from paycheck dependence: the tendency to focus on what you might lose rather than what you could gain. Building an emergency fund becomes crucial during this transition phase. Most financial experts recommend saving 3 to 6 months of expenses, but when planning to leave traditional employment, aim for at least 12 months of living expenses in easily accessible accounts. This buffer provides the psychological comfort needed to make bold career moves and the practical resources to weather initial income fluctuations. Family and social pressure often create the strongest resistance to entrepreneurial pursuits. Well-meaning relatives frequently discourage business ventures with warnings about risk and failure rates. These conversations require careful handling because family support can make the difference between success and failure. Start by sharing your planning process rather than just your final decision. Show family members your market research, financial projections, and risk mitigation strategies. When they see you're approaching the change thoughtfully rather than impulsively, they're more likely to offer support. Consider the case of Maria, a corporate accountant who wanted to start her own bookkeeping service. Her parents constantly reminded her about her good job and stable benefits, making her feel guilty about considering a change. Maria addressed their concerns by creating a detailed business plan, building a 6-month client list while still employed, and demonstrating that her new venture would actually provide more security than her corporate position. When she finally made the transition, her family had become her biggest supporters. The opportunity cost of staying in limiting employment often exceeds the risks of entrepreneurship. Every year you spend in a job that doesn't allow for significant income growth or skill development represents missed opportunities for wealth building. A teacher earning $45,000 annually with 3% yearly raises will make about $1.8 million over a 30-year career. That same person who starts a tutoring business that grows into an educational services company could potentially earn several times that amount while having more control over their schedule and greater job satisfaction. Skill development while employed requires strategic thinking about your long-term goals. Focus on abilities that transfer across industries and have entrepreneurial applications. Communication, sales, project management, and financial analysis are valuable in almost any business context. Use your current position as a laboratory for developing these skills. Volunteer to lead projects, present to clients, or manage budgets. Your employer benefits from your increased capabilities while you build the foundation for future independence. Network building becomes particularly important during transition planning. Start attending industry conferences, joining professional associations, and participating in local business groups. The relationships you build while still employed often become crucial resources when you start your own venture. Many successful entrepreneurs trace their first major contracts or partnerships back to connections made during their employment years. What limiting beliefs about money and success do you carry that might be holding you back from pursuing better opportunities? Common beliefs include, money is the root of all evil, successful people are lucky or dishonest, or I don't have what it takes to run a business. These mental barriers often prove more challenging than practical obstacles. Market research while employed gives you significant advantages over entrepreneurs who quit their jobs before testing their ideas. You can conduct customer interviews, analyze competitor pricing, and test product concepts without the pressure of immediate income needs. This research phase often reveals whether your business idea has real market potential or needs refinement before launch. Creating a timeline with specific milestones helps maintain momentum and measure progress toward independence. Set goals like build 3 months of bridge income within 6 months, or complete business registration and initial marketing materials within 4 months. Regular progress reviews allow you to adjust strategies and celebrate achievements along the way. The transition away from paycheck dependence requires both courage and careful planning. Those who succeed typically combine thorough preparation with willingness to take calculated risks. They build financial cushions, develop alternative income sources, and create support networks before making major career changes. Most importantly, they recognize that the biggest risk isn't entrepreneurial failure. It's spending decades in situations that never allow them to reach their full potential. Part 2. The gig economy illusion. Understanding the gig economy means recognizing both its promise and its pitfalls. While platforms like Uber, DoorDash, and TaskRabbit market themselves as pathways to freedom and flexibility, the reality often tells a different story. Workers find themselves trading traditional employment protections for what appears to be independence, but frequently becomes a more precarious form of work. The shift represents one of the most significant changes in how companies structure labor costs, moving expenses and risks away from businesses and onto individual workers, while maintaining tight control over operations and pricing. Sarah thought she had found the perfect solution when she started driving for rideshare companies 3 years ago. Recently laid off from her marketing job, she needed immediate income while searching for new employment. The promise seemed attractive: work whenever she wanted, be her own boss, and earn money instantly. 6 months later, she was working 70 hours per week just to match her previous income before accounting for her increased expenses. The mathematics of gig work often creates an illusion of profitability that disappears under closer examination. When Sarah calculated her actual earnings, she discovered the harsh reality. After deducting gas, vehicle depreciation, increased insurance premiums, and maintenance costs, her hourly earnings dropped below minimum wage. The Internal Revenue Service allows deductions for vehicle expenses, but many gig workers fail to track these properly or understand their full impact on profitability. Vehicle depreciation represents the largest hidden cost in delivery and rideshare work. A car loses approximately 15 to 20 cents per mile in value through normal use. Add commercial use patterns, and this figure increases significantly. Sarah's 3-year-old sedan, worth $18,000 when she began gig work, had depreciated to $11,000 after 18 months of heavy commercial use. How often do you calculate the true cost of your work activities, including equipment depreciation and opportunity costs? Tax implications create another layer of complexity that catches many gig workers unprepared. Unlike traditional employees who have taxes automatically withheld, gig workers become independent contractors responsible for self-employment taxes. This adds an additional 15.3% tax burden on top of regular income taxes. Maria, a DoorDash driver, discovered this during her first tax season when she owed $4,000 in taxes despite earning only $28,000 for the year. The psychological design of gig platforms deserves particular attention. Companies employ sophisticated gamification techniques that encourage longer working hours and acceptance of lower-paying jobs. Surge pricing notifications, achievement badges, and streak bonuses create artificial urgency and competition among workers. These systems mirror casino psychology, providing intermittent reinforcement that keeps workers engaged even when earnings decline. Platform algorithms deliberately obscure true profitability by showing gross earnings rather than net income. Workers see immediate deposits of $20 or $30 per shift without considering the associated costs. This instant gratification can become addictive, preventing workers from developing long-term financial strategies or pursuing more profitable opportunities. The lack of traditional worker protections compounds these challenges. Gig workers receive no sick leave, vacation time, health insurance, or unemployment benefits. When James injured his back and couldn't work for 6 weeks, he had no income source and no legal protections. Traditional employees would have received workers' compensation and temporary disability benefits. Job security in the gig economy proves largely illusory. Platform policies change without notice, rates decrease arbitrarily, and workers can be deactivated without warning or appeal processes. Robert drove for rideshare companies for 2 years before his account was suspended due to a false customer complaint. Despite appealing through official channels, he never received a meaningful response or account reinstatement. Platform control over pricing eliminates true entrepreneurial independence. Unlike actual business owners who set their own rates, gig workers accept whatever compensation platforms offer. When Uber Eats reduced delivery fees in Robert's market by 30%, drivers had no recourse except to work longer hours or find alternative income sources. The opportunity cost of gig work often exceeds its direct financial cost. Time spent driving or delivering could be invested in skill development, business building, or relationship nurturing that creates long-term value. Marcus spent 2 years working 60 hours weekly for various gig platforms before realizing he could have used that time to complete professional certifications that would have doubled his earning potential. Consider when gig work might serve as appropriate temporary income versus when it becomes a long-term trap. Short-term gig work can provide bridge income during job transitions or supplement other income sources. However, relying on gig work as a primary income source often prevents wealth building and skill development. Better alternatives exist for those seeking independence and flexibility. Starting a service business allows you to set your own rates and build client relationships. David transformed his handyman skills into a renovation business that generates 3 times his previous gig income while working fewer hours. Unlike platform-dependent gig work, he controls his pricing, chooses his clients, and builds long-term value through reputation and relationships. Consulting leverages existing professional skills to create higher-value income streams. Jennifer used her accounting background to provide bookkeeping services to small businesses, earning more per hour than her previous corporate job while maintaining schedule flexibility. Digital product creation offers scalable income potential that gig work cannot match. Recognizing the difference between entrepreneurship and gig work helps prevent costly mistakes. True business ownership involves controlling pricing, building assets, and creating systems that generate income without constant personal effort. Gig work typically requires trading time for money under terms controlled by others, making it more similar to employment than entrepreneurship. What skills or expertise do you possess that could be transformed into a legitimate business rather than gig work? The transition away from gig dependency requires honest assessment of your situation and clear planning for better alternatives. Calculate your true hourly earnings, including all costs and taxes. Identify skills that could command higher rates through direct client relationships. Build emergency funds that reduce dependence on immediate income from gig platforms. Understanding these realities helps you make informed decisions about your financial future and avoid the gig economy trap that keeps millions working harder while building less wealth. Part 3. Why security is the biggest risk. The pursuit of absolute financial security often becomes the greatest threat to your long-term prosperity. Traditional wisdom promotes safety through savings accounts, stable jobs, and conservative investments. Yet this approach consistently fails to build lasting wealth. History reveals that those who prioritize security over growth found themselves financially devastated during economic shifts. This section examines why avoiding risk becomes the riskiest strategy of all and how successful individuals thrive by understanding the true nature of financial security versus the illusion of safety. Consider Sarah, a diligent government employee who spent 30 years contributing to her pension fund while keeping her savings in certificates of deposit. She believed this strategy guaranteed her retirement security. However, when inflation averaged 4% annually while her savings earned 2%, she actually lost purchasing power every year. Meanwhile, her colleague Mark invested in rental properties and dividend-paying stocks despite the apparent risks. When they both retired, Mark's income had grown substantially while Sarah struggled with fixed payments that bought less each year. The mathematics of security reveals its fundamental flaw. Money sitting in savings accounts earning minimal interest gets destroyed by inflation. $1 today will purchase significantly less in 20 years, regardless of how safely you store it. Government bonds, once considered the safest investments, have delivered negative real returns when adjusted for inflation over many periods. What appears secure on paper becomes a guaranteed loss of purchasing power over time. Economic history demonstrates how security-focused strategies crumble during major disruptions. During the 1970s stagflation period, traditional savers watched their purchasing power evaporate, while real estate and stock investors maintained wealth. The 2008 financial crisis devastated those who kept money in seemingly safe bank accounts at institutions that failed, while investors who owned productive assets recovered and thrived. Professional security proves equally illusory in our rapidly changing economy. Entire industries disappear within decades due to technological advancement. Photography professionals who specialized in film development found their skills worthless when digital photography emerged. Travel agents watched online booking platforms eliminate their profession almost overnight. Taxi drivers faced displacement from ride-sharing apps and eventual automation. What skills do you possess today that might become obsolete within the next decade? The acceleration of technological change means no profession remains immune to disruption. Even highly educated professionals face displacement as artificial intelligence and automation advance into previously secure fields like law, medicine, and accounting. The concept of anti-fragility offers a superior approach to financial security. Rather than trying to predict and avoid all risks, successful individuals build systems that benefit from volatility and uncertainty. They diversify across multiple income sources, develop adaptable skills, and maintain flexibility to capitalize on changing conditions. Wealthy individuals demonstrate this principle consistently. During economic downturns, they purchase assets at discounted prices while others panic and sell. They start businesses that solve problems created by changing conditions. They invest in their education and skills to remain valuable regardless of market shifts. Their security comes from adaptability rather than rigidity. The difference between intelligent risk-taking and gambling lies in preparation and analysis. Successful investors conduct thorough research, understand potential outcomes, and size their positions appropriately. They never risk money they cannot afford to lose, yet they consistently take calculated risks that offer favorable risk-reward ratios. Consider the framework successful investors use for evaluating opportunities. They assess the potential upside versus downside risk, examine the probability of different outcomes, and determine position sizing based on their overall portfolio. They understand that avoiding all risk guarantees mediocre results, while taking excessive risk leads to catastrophic losses. How do you currently evaluate financial opportunities? Most people focus entirely on potential losses, while ignoring opportunity costs. The money you keep in low-yield savings accounts represents missed opportunities for growth through better investments. The promotion you avoid pursuing due to fear of failure costs you years of higher earnings potential. Economic uncertainty actually creates the greatest opportunities for wealth building. Market volatility allows investors to purchase quality assets at discounted prices. Industry disruption enables entrepreneurs to build businesses serving new needs. Currency fluctuations provide trading opportunities for knowledgeable investors. Businesses that thrive during uncertain times share common characteristics. They maintain strong cash positions to capitalize on opportunities. They focus on solving real problems rather than following trends. They adapt quickly to changing conditions rather than clinging to outdated strategies. They view uncertainty as competitive advantage rather than threat. Building true financial security requires embracing calculated risks while maintaining preparedness for multiple scenarios. This means developing multiple income streams, building emergency funds, acquiring valuable skills, and investing in assets that grow over time. Security comes from strength and adaptability, not from avoiding all uncertainty. The path forward involves shifting your mindset from risk avoidance to risk management. Start by honestly assessing your current financial position and identifying areas where excessive conservatism limits your growth potential. Begin taking small, calculated risks while building your knowledge and experience with different investment approaches. Part 4. Developing your exit strategy. Creating a strategic exit from employment dependence requires careful planning, precise execution, and unwavering commitment to your financial independence goals. This comprehensive approach transforms the dream of escaping the employee quadrant into a concrete, achievable reality through systematic wealth building and risk management. You'll discover proven frameworks for building multiple income streams while employed, master the art of strategic timing, and develop the financial cushion that makes walking away from your job a choice rather than a desperate leap into uncertainty. The foundation of any successful exit strategy begins with establishing your financial independence number. This represents the total amount of assets and passive income needed to sustain your desired lifestyle without employment income. Sarah, a marketing manager, calculated she needed $60,000 annually to cover her expenses. Using the 4% withdrawal rule, she determined she needed $1.5 million in invested assets or enough passive income to generate $5,000 monthly. Most successful transitions take between 3 to 7 years of dedicated preparation. The timeline depends on your current financial position, desired lifestyle, and risk tolerance. Start by calculating your monthly expenses and multiplying by 12 to get your annual requirement. Then determine how much passive income you need to generate and what asset base supports that income level. Building your exit fund requires discipline and strategy. Allocate at least 20% of your income toward this goal through automated transfers to separate accounts designated for investment and business development. This money becomes your freedom fund, growing while you remain employed and providing the financial cushion needed for your transition. What would you attempt if you knew you had 2 years of living expenses saved and growing income from investments? The concept of few money represents having enough financial resources to make employment optional. This isn't about having millions in the bank. It's about reaching the point where your passive income covers basic living expenses, giving you leverage in employment negotiations and the confidence to pursue opportunities without desperation. Time management becomes critical during this transition phase. Most successful entrepreneurs build their future businesses while still employed, dedicating early mornings, evenings, and weekends to their projects. Marcus, an accountant, woke up at 5 a.m. daily to work on his consulting business for 2 hours before his regular job. Within 18 months, his side business generated enough income to replace his salary. Skill development should focus on high-income activities that translate directly into business results. Prioritize learning sales, marketing, and basic business operations over general knowledge. These skills provide immediate value whether you're starting a service business or investing in real estate. Legal considerations require careful attention when building businesses while employed. Review your employment contract for non-compete clauses, intellectual property agreements, and confidentiality restrictions. Many contracts prevent employees from starting competing businesses or soliciting company clients. Consult with an employment attorney to understand your limitations and structure your business activities appropriately. Intellectual property created during employment often belongs to your employer, even if developed during personal time. Avoid using company resources, including computers, phones, or networks, for personal business activities. Maintain clear separation between your employment duties and entrepreneurial pursuits. Tax planning becomes more complex when earning income from multiple sources. Consider forming a business entity to separate your entrepreneurial income from employment income. This provides liability protection and potential tax advantages through business expense deductions. Your exit strategy should match your risk tolerance and financial goals. Conservative approaches involve building passive income streams that eventually replace employment income before leaving your job. Aggressive strategies might involve accumulating enough savings to support yourself while building a business full-time. The gradual transition approach reduces risk by maintaining employment income while building alternative revenue sources. Rachel, a software engineer, spent 3 years building a portfolio of rental properties. When her rental income reached 80% of her salary, she negotiated part-time employment with her current employer, using the extra time to acquire more properties. Within another year, her real estate income exceeded her part-time salary, allowing her to leave employment completely. How much monthly passive income would you need to feel comfortable reducing your employment hours? Complete career changes require larger financial cushions, but can accelerate wealth building for the right individuals. This approach works best for people with high-demand skills, proven business concepts, or substantial savings to support themselves during the transition period. Track your progress using specific key performance indicators. Monitor your passive income growth, savings rate, and debt reduction monthly. Create visual representations of your progress to maintain motivation during challenging periods. Successful transitions require consistent measurement and course correction. Common obstacles include family pressure to maintain stable employment, fear of losing benefits, and uncertainty about future income potential. Address these concerns through open communication with family members about your goals and timeline. Research alternative health insurance options and build these costs into your financial planning. Economic downturns can derail transition plans if you're not prepared. Maintain larger emergency funds during transition periods and avoid taking on additional debt. Market volatility affects both investment returns and business income, so build buffers into your planning assumptions. Building professional networks accelerates your transition by providing opportunities, referrals, and support. Attend industry events, join professional associations, and maintain relationships with former colleagues. Your network often provides your first business opportunities or investment deals. Finding mentors who have successfully made similar transitions provides invaluable guidance and helps you avoid common mistakes. Look for individuals who have built businesses in your target industry or achieved financial independence through similar strategies. Many successful entrepreneurs and investors willingly share their knowledge with committed individuals. Creating support systems involves surrounding yourself with people who understand and encourage your goals. This might include mastermind groups, entrepreneur meetups, or online communities focused on financial independence. Avoid spending time with people who discourage your ambitions or promote limiting beliefs about money and success. Regular strategy reviews ensure your exit plan remains relevant as circumstances change. Economic conditions, personal situations, and market opportunities evolve, requiring adjustments to your approach. Schedule quarterly reviews to assess progress, identify obstacles, and refine your strategy. The transition from employee to entrepreneur or investor represents more than a career change. It's a fundamental shift in how you think about money, security, and personal capability. Success requires treating this transition as a project with specific deliverables, timelines, and success metrics rather than a vague aspiration. Your exit strategy becomes your roadmap to financial freedom, providing clear steps for moving from the left side to the right side of the cash flow quadrant while minimizing risk and maximizing your chances of success. Chapter 3. Building Your Business Empire. Part 1. Systems that work without you. The ability to create systems that operate independently of your personal involvement represents the difference between owning a job and owning a true business. Most entrepreneurs trap themselves in their ventures by building everything around their personal skills and presence. This section reveals how to construct business operations that function like well-oiled machines, generating revenue while you focus on strategic growth or pursue other opportunities. You will learn proven frameworks for systematizing every aspect of your business, from customer acquisition to service delivery, using real-world examples of companies that successfully made this transition. Think of Ray Kroc and McDonald's. When Kroc acquired the McDonald's concept from the McDonald brothers, he transformed a single restaurant into a global empire by creating systems that could be replicated anywhere in the world. The secret was not better hamburgers, but better systems. Every McDonald's restaurant operates using identical procedures, from cooking times to customer service scripts. A teenager in Tokyo can follow the same system as one in New York and produce consistent results. This principle applies to businesses of all sizes. Sarah started a digital marketing agency that initially depended entirely on her expertise. Clients called her directly, she personally managed every campaign, and she worked 80-hour weeks. When she wanted to take a vacation, revenue stopped. She realized she had created a job, not a business. Sarah began documenting everything she did. She created step-by-step procedures for client onboarding, campaign setup, reporting, and communication. She recorded video tutorials showing exactly how to perform each task. Within 6 months, she hired her first employee and trained them using these documented systems. The employee could deliver the same quality results because they followed the same proven processes. Are you currently the bottleneck in your business operations? If you disappeared for a month, would your business continue generating revenue? The franchise model provides the clearest example of systemized business operations. Successful franchises like Subway, 7-Eleven, and H&R Block succeed because they have documented every aspect of their operations. Franchise owners receive operations manuals that detail everything from store layout to employee training procedures. These systems ensure consistency regardless of who owns or operates each location. Consider how Amazon operates. Jeff Bezos built systems that process millions of orders daily without his personal involvement. Automated inventory management systems reorder products when stock runs low. Robots in warehouses pick and pack orders. Algorithms determine shipping routes. Customer service chatbots handle routine inquiries. These systems operate 24 hours a day, generating revenue while management focuses on strategic decisions. Small businesses can apply similar principles using available technology. Customer relationship management software can automatically follow up with leads, send personalized emails, and track sales progress. Scheduling software can book appointments without human intervention. Payment processing systems can handle transactions and send receipts automatically. James owns a local plumbing company that initially required his presence for every job. He created a systematic approach by developing service checklists for common repairs, training videos for his technicians, and customer communication templates. He implemented software that automatically schedules appointments, sends reminders, and processes payments. Now his technicians handle routine jobs independently while he focuses on complex projects and business growth. The key to building independent systems lies in documentation. Every task in your business should have a written procedure that someone else can follow. Start with tasks you perform most frequently. Write down each step in detail, including decision, points, and quality standards. Test these procedures by having someone else follow them exactly as written. Refine the documentation based on their experience. What tasks do you perform daily that could be documented and delegated to others? Technology automation eliminates many routine tasks entirely. Email marketing platforms can send personalized messages based on customer behavior. Social media scheduling tools can post content automatically. Accounting software can generate invoices, track expenses, and prepare financial reports. Project management systems can assign tasks, track progress, and send status updates. Netflix demonstrates advanced systemization through algorithms that recommend content to users. These systems analyze viewing patterns and suggest movies without human intervention. The recommendation engine drives a significant portion of viewing time, effectively selling content automatically. Building management layers reduces dependence on the founder. As your business grows, create supervisory positions that handle day-to-day operations. Train managers to make routine decisions using established criteria. Develop reporting systems that keep you informed without requiring your constant presence. Maria built a successful catering business by creating detailed recipe cards, portion guides, and event planning checklists. She trained shift leaders to manage kitchen operations and event coordination. Her management system includes quality checkpoints and customer feedback mechanisms. The business now operates multiple events simultaneously without requiring her direct oversight. Performance metrics ensure systems maintain quality standards. Establish key performance indicators for each business function. Monitor customer satisfaction scores, error rates, delivery times, and financial performance. Create automatic alerts when metrics fall below acceptable levels. This data-driven approach maintains quality while reducing management overhead. Standard operating procedures should cover every aspect of customer interaction. Document how leads are qualified, how sales presentations are conducted, how services are delivered, and how customer issues are resolved. Train employees to follow these procedures consistently. Regular testing and updates ensure procedures remain effective as your business evolves. The transition from owner-dependent to system-dependent operations requires patience and persistence. Start by systematizing one area of your business completely before moving to the next. Focus on activities that consume the most time or generate the most revenue. Build redundancy into critical systems so single points of failure do not disrupt operations. Modern businesses that operate independently of their founders share common characteristics. They have documented procedures for every process, trained personnel who can execute these procedures, technology that automates routine tasks, management systems that provide oversight without requiring founder involvement, and performance metrics that ensure quality and profitability. The ultimate goal is creating a business that operates like a machine, generating income predictably and consistently. This transformation from personal dependency to systematic operation represents the difference between small business ownership and true entrepreneurship. Your business should work for you, not trap you in operational details. Part 2. Digital business models that scale. Building systematic business operations that run without your constant oversight leads naturally to the digital frontier, where technology amplifies this independence. Digital business models represent the ultimate expression of scalable systems, capable of serving millions of customers simultaneously while you focus on strategic growth. These models harness technology to create businesses that operate around the clock across global markets with minimal physical infrastructure. The key lies in understanding how successful digital entrepreneurs build platforms that generate revenue through automation, network effects, and recurring customer relationships. This approach transforms individual effort into scalable systems that grow exponentially rather than linearly. Digital businesses possess unique advantages that traditional brick-and-mortar operations cannot match. When Netflix shifted from DVD rentals to streaming, they demonstrated how digital models eliminate physical constraints. A single piece of software can serve one customer or 1 million customers with nearly identical operational costs. This characteristic, known as zero marginal cost, means each additional customer increases profit without proportionally increasing expenses. Consider how Zoom transformed during the pandemic. Their video conferencing platform served millions of new users without building additional factories, hiring proportional staff, or expanding physical locations. The software infrastructure they built once could accommodate massive growth with minimal additional investment. This scalability principle applies across digital business models, from software applications to online marketplaces. Software as a service represents one of the most reliable digital models for creating predictable income. Companies like Salesforce built billion-dollar enterprises by solving specific business problems through software subscriptions. Instead of selling software once, SaaS businesses create ongoing relationships with customers who pay monthly or annually for continued access and updates. The beauty of subscription models lies in their predictability. When you acquire a customer paying $50 monthly, you can reasonably project $600 in annual revenue from that relationship. This predictability enables better planning, easier financing, and more accurate business valuations. Successful SaaS businesses focus on reducing customer churn while increasing the value they provide, creating compounding growth over time. Digital marketplaces create value by connecting buyers and sellers while taking a percentage of each transaction. Amazon started as an online bookstore but evolved into a platform where millions of sellers reach billions of customers. The marketplace model scales beautifully because growth on one side attracts growth on the other side. More sellers attract more buyers, and more buyers attract more sellers, creating positive feedback loops. Etsy demonstrates how niche marketplaces can thrive by serving specific communities. They connected craft makers with customers seeking unique, handmade items. By focusing on a particular market segment, they built a loyal community that generates consistent transaction fees. The platform handles payments, disputes, and logistics, while sellers focus on creating products. How might you identify an underserved market where buyers and sellers struggle to connect efficiently? Content creation platforms showcase another powerful digital model. YouTube creators with millions of subscribers generate substantial income through advertising revenue, sponsorships, and merchandise sales. The platform provides global distribution while creators focus on producing valuable content. This model works because content can be consumed repeatedly without additional production costs. Educational platforms like Udemy and Coursera transformed how knowledge is packaged and delivered. An instructor can create a course once and sell it to thousands of students worldwide. Online education eliminates classroom capacity constraints, scheduling conflicts, and geographic limitations. Students access content when convenient, while instructors earn passive income from courses created months or years earlier. The key to successful digital education lies in solving real problems with actionable solutions. Pat Flynn built smart passive income into a multi-million-dollar education business by teaching entrepreneurs how to build online businesses. His courses, podcasts, and books continue generating revenue while helping thousands of students achieve their goals. Digital product creation offers entry points for individual entrepreneurs. Ebooks, online courses, software tools, and mobile applications can be created with minimal upfront investment. The challenge lies in identifying market needs and creating products that provide genuine value. Successful digital products solve specific problems better than existing alternatives. Consider how Buffer started as a simple social media scheduling tool. The founders identified a common problem among marketers and created a solution that millions of people now use daily. They began with a basic version, gathered user feedback, and continuously improved the product based on customer needs. Affiliate marketing enables individuals to earn commissions by promoting other companies' products. Successful affiliates build audiences through content marketing, then recommend products that provide genuine value to their followers. The key lies in building trust and only promoting products you personally use or thoroughly research. Michelle Schroeder-Gardner transformed her personal finance blog into a six-figure business, primarily through affiliate marketing. She shares her financial journey while recommending tools and services that helped her achieve financial independence. Her authentic approach builds trust with readers who appreciate her genuine recommendations. Dropshipping allows entrepreneurs to sell products without managing inventory. When customers place orders, suppliers ship products directly to customers, while you keep the profit margin. This model eliminates storage costs and inventory risks, but requires careful supplier selection and customer service management. Building digital assets that appreciate over time forms the foundation of sustainable online businesses. Email lists, social media followings, and website traffic represent valuable assets that can generate income for years. Smart entrepreneurs focus on growing these assets before monetizing them, understanding that larger audiences create more opportunities. Email marketing consistently generates higher returns than social media advertising because you own your email list. Social media platforms can change algorithms or policies, potentially reducing your reach overnight. Email lists provide direct communication channels with your most engaged followers. What digital assets could you start building today that might generate income 5 years from now? Artificial intelligence and automation increasingly enhance digital business operations. Chatbots handle customer inquiries, automated email sequences nurture leads, and machine learning algorithms optimize advertising campaigns. These technologies enable small teams to manage businesses that previously required large staffs. Validation represents a crucial step before building any digital business. Creating minimum viable products allows you to test market demand without significant investment. Many successful digital businesses started with simple websites, basic software, or limited product offerings that proved market demand before major development. Dropbox famously validated their concept with a simple video demonstrating their file synchronization idea. Before building complex software, they measured customer interest through pre-orders and email signups. This approach saved months of development time and confirmed market demand. The most successful digital businesses iterate based on customer feedback. They launch quickly, gather user data, and continuously improve their offerings. This approach contrasts with traditional business models that require extensive planning before launch. Digital business models scale by removing traditional constraints of time, geography, and physical resources. They create systems that generate income while you sleep, serve customers around the world, and grow without proportional increases in operational complexity. The key lies in choosing models that align with your skills while solving real problems for specific audiences. Part 3. The Art of Delegation and Automation. Successful business owners eventually realize they face a critical choice: remain trapped by their business or build systems that work without them. The difference between a small business and a scalable enterprise lies in the owner's ability to delegate and automate effectively. This transformation requires mastering both the psychological challenges of letting go and the practical skills of building systems that operate independently. Most entrepreneurs struggle with this transition because they believe no one can do the work as well as they can. However, the businesses that achieve true scale are those where the owner becomes the architect of systems rather than the executor of tasks. This section provides a roadmap for making this essential transition. The psychology of delegation presents the biggest barrier for most business owners. Sarah ran a successful marketing consultancy for 5 years, personally handling every client project. She worked 70-hour weeks and earned good money, but her business could not grow beyond her personal capacity. The moment she took a vacation, revenue stopped. Her fear of losing quality control kept her trapped in the day-to-day operations. This control mentality stems from the belief that delegation means losing standards. However, effective delegation actually means raising standards by creating systems that produce consistent results regardless of who performs the work. When Sarah finally hired her first assistant, she spent 2 weeks documenting every process, creating templates, and establishing quality checkpoints. The result was better consistency than when she handled everything herself. What tasks in your business currently depend entirely on your personal involvement? These represent the biggest opportunities for delegation and growth. The first step in successful delegation involves identifying which tasks to delegate first. Start with routine, time-consuming activities that do not require your unique expertise. Administrative tasks, data entry, customer service inquiries, and social media posting are excellent starting points. These activities consume significant time but rarely need the business owner's specialized knowledge. Consider the 80-20 principle when evaluating tasks. 80% of results typically come from 20% of activities. Focus your personal time on the high-impact 20% while delegating the routine 80%. This shift alone can double or triple your effective capacity. Tom owned a small e-commerce business selling outdoor equipment. He spent 4 hours daily responding to customer emails, processing orders, and updating inventory. By hiring a virtual assistant for 15 hours per week, he freed up 20 hours to focus on product sourcing and marketing partnerships. His revenue increased 40% within 6 months, while his working hours decreased. The quality of delegation depends heavily on how well you prepare and train your team members. Clear job descriptions, detailed processes, and specific performance standards form the foundation of effective delegation. Avoid the common mistake of assuming others understand your expectations without explicit communication. Create step-by-step procedures for every delegated task. Use screen recordings, written guides, and checklists to document processes. This documentation serves 2 purposes. It ensures consistent execution and makes training new team members much faster when your business grows. Outcome-based delegation represents a more advanced approach where you define desired results rather than specific methods. This style gives team members autonomy to find creative solutions while holding them accountable for specific outcomes. For example, instead of dictating exactly how to respond to customer complaints, you might establish response time standards and satisfaction targets while allowing flexibility in approach. Building your delegation team requires understanding different types of support available. Virtual assistants work remotely and handle routine tasks cost-effectively. Freelancers provide specialized skills for specific projects. Full-time employees offer consistency and deeper integration with your business systems. Maria built a successful online course business by starting with one virtual assistant for customer support. As her business grew, she added a freelance graphic designer for course materials and eventually hired a full-time operations manager. Each addition allowed her to focus on higher-level strategy and business development. How might your business change if you could focus solely on activities that only you can perform? The hiring process becomes crucial for delegation success. Look for candidates who demonstrate reliability, communication skills, and attention to detail. These qualities matter more than perfect experience because you can train specific skills more easily than fundamental work habits. Effective training programs include initial orientation, hands-on practice with feedback, and ongoing support. Start new team members with simple tasks and gradually increase complexity as they demonstrate competence. This approach builds confidence while maintaining quality standards. Accountability systems ensure delegated work meets your standards. Regular check-ins, performance metrics, and quality reviews create structure without micromanagement. Weekly progress meetings, monthly performance reviews, and quarterly goal-setting sessions provide appropriate oversight levels. Technology platforms make managing remote teams much easier than in the past. Project management tools, communication apps, and time-tracking software provide visibility into work progress without constant supervision. These tools create accountability while preserving team member autonomy. Automation represents the ultimate form of delegation by having technology handle routine tasks. Customer service chatbots can answer common questions 24 hours daily. Email marketing automation nurtures leads and customers with personalized sequences. Financial reporting software generates monthly summaries automatically. Start automation efforts with repetitive, rule-based processes. Social media scheduling tools can publish content consistently. Inventory management systems can reorder products automatically when stock runs low. Invoice generation and payment reminders can operate without human intervention. David automated his consulting business by implementing scheduling software that let clients book appointments directly. Email sequences introduced new clients to his processes and delivered preparatory materials automatically. These changes eliminated 10 hours of administrative work weekly while improving client experience. The transition from doing everything yourself to managing systems requires patience and persistence. Expect initial productivity decreases as you invest time in training and system development. However, this investment pays significant dividends as your capacity multiplies. Monitor both human and automated systems regularly to identify improvement opportunities. Track performance metrics, gather feedback from team members and customers, and continuously refine processes. This optimization approach ensures your delegation and automation efforts become more effective over time. Remember that delegation and automation serve a larger purpose, freeing you to work on activities that truly drive business growth. Strategic planning, relationship building, innovation, and market expansion require your unique insights and cannot be delegated. By systematically removing routine tasks from your plate, you create space for these high-impact activities that determine your business's ultimate success. Part 4. Creating multiple revenue streams. The path to financial freedom rarely depends on a single income source. Today's most successful entrepreneurs and investors understand that creating multiple revenue streams provides both security and acceleration toward wealth-building goals. This approach reduces the devastating impact of losing any one income source while creating opportunities for exponential growth when streams complement and amplify each other. Smart business builders diversify their income portfolio the same way investors diversify their stock portfolio. The strategies we explore here will show you how to identify, launch, and manage multiple revenue sources without overwhelming yourself or compromising the quality of your existing operations. Sarah Martinez learned this lesson the hard way. For 5 years, she ran a successful graphic design studio that generated $150,000 annually. When her largest client suddenly canceled their contract, her income dropped by 60% overnight. This crisis forced her to rethink her entire business approach. Within 2 years, she had built 6 different revenue streams: her original design services, online design courses, stock graphics licensing, design templates, affiliate marketing, and a small investment portfolio. Today, no single stream represents more than 30% of her total income. The foundation of multiple revenue streams lies in understanding the difference between active and passive income. Active income requires your ongoing time and effort, like consulting or service delivery. Passive income continues flowing with minimal ongoing involvement, such as rental properties, royalties, or automated digital products. The most effective approach combines both types, using active income to fund passive income investments while building systems that gradually convert active streams into more passive ones. Consider how your existing skills and resources can generate income in new ways. A fitness trainer might offer personal sessions, group classes, online workout programs, nutrition guides, affiliate commissions from equipment sales, and certification courses for other trainers. Each stream leverages the same core expertise while serving different customer needs and price points. The key is identifying synergies between potential revenue streams. When streams complement each other, they create what economists call network effects. Your email list from one business becomes a customer base for another. Your expertise in one area provides credibility for adjacent offerings. Your existing customer relationships become distribution channels for new products or services. Portfolio entrepreneurship represents a modern approach to business building. Instead of putting all energy into one large venture, portfolio entrepreneurs launch multiple smaller businesses that collectively generate substantial income. This strategy reduces risk while providing learning opportunities across different markets and business models. Tech entrepreneur James Chen exemplifies this approach. His portfolio includes a software consulting firm, 3 mobile apps, an online course business, a YouTube channel with advertising revenue, and investments in 2 startups. While none individually matches what a single large business might generate, together they produce over $500,000 annually, with built-in redundancy and growth potential. Timing becomes critical when launching multiple revenue streams. Starting too many ventures simultaneously often leads to mediocre results across all areas. The most successful approach involves sequencing. Establish one stream, systematize its operations, then launch the next while maintaining the first. This methodical progression prevents the common trap of spreading yourself too thin. Digital platforms have revolutionized multiple income stream creation. A single piece of content can generate revenue through multiple channels: direct sales, affiliate commissions, advertising revenue, licensing fees, and lead generation for higher value services. Social media platforms, online marketplaces, and digital payment systems enable global reach with minimal startup costs. How might your current business or job skills translate into 3 different revenue streams? This question helps identify opportunities hiding in plain sight. Teachers create online courses, write educational books, and offer tutoring services. Accountants provide tax services, create financial planning tools, and offer business consulting. The pattern remains consistent: leverage core competencies across multiple delivery methods and customer segments. Intellectual property licensing offers particularly attractive passive income potential. Software developers license code libraries. Writers license content to multiple publications. Consultants package their methodologies into licensing programs for other professionals. The initial creation requires significant effort, but ongoing licensing revenue flows with minimal additional work. Recurring revenue models provide predictable cash flow that makes business planning and growth much easier. Subscription services, membership sites, maintenance contracts, and retainer agreements create monthly revenue that compounds over time. A business with $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue has dramatically different growth potential than one dependent on finding new customers each month. The management challenge increases with each additional revenue stream. Successful multiple stream entrepreneurs develop systems and teams that handle routine operations while they focus on strategy and new opportunity identification. They track performance metrics for each stream, regularly evaluating which deserve more investment and which should be discontinued. Modern automation tools make managing multiple streams more feasible than ever before. Customer relationship management systems track leads and sales across all channels. Automated email sequences nurture prospects for different offerings. Payment processors handle transactions globally. Social media schedulers maintain brand presence across platforms. These tools act as force multipliers, allowing individuals to manage business complexity that previously required large teams. The diversification benefits compound over time. Economic downturns that devastate one industry might barely affect others. Seasonal fluctuations in one stream get offset by different patterns in others. Geographic or demographic changes that impact some revenue sources create opportunities for others. This resilience becomes increasingly valuable as markets become more volatile and competitive. Risk management involves more than just diversification. Each revenue stream carries its own operational, legal, and financial risks. Online businesses face platform dependency risks. Service businesses deal with client concentration risks. Investment vehicles carry market risks. Smart entrepreneurs structure their portfolios to minimize correlated risks while maximizing uncorrelated opportunities. Building multiple revenue streams requires patience and persistence. The compounding effects take time to materialize, but they create exponential rather than linear growth patterns. Each stream reinforces others through shared customers, resources, and expertise. The result is a business portfolio greater than the sum of its individual parts, positioned for both stability and growth in any economic environment. Chapter 4. The Modern Investor's Playbook. Part 1. Beyond Stocks and Bonds. The modern investment landscape has transformed dramatically over the past 2 decades, offering investors access to opportunities that were once reserved for the wealthy elite. Where traditional investment advice centered on the simple 60-40 stock-bond split, today's smart investors are exploring private equity, real estate crowdfunding, peer-to-peer lending, precious metals, and even digital assets. This shift reflects both the limitations of conventional portfolios in our current economic environment and the democratization of investment access through technology. Understanding these alternatives and how they fit into your overall strategy can mean the difference between modest returns and significant wealth building in the years ahead. The traditional investment playbook that guided previous generations is showing its age. The classic 60-40 portfolio, which allocated 60% to stocks and 40% to bonds, worked well during decades of declining interest rates and consistent economic growth. However, this approach faces serious challenges in today's environment of low interest rates, high inflation, and increased market volatility. Consider Sarah, a 45-year-old marketing executive who followed conventional advice for 20 years. Her portfolio consisted entirely of index funds and government bonds. While she avoided major losses during market downturns, her returns barely kept pace with inflation. When she expanded into alternative investments, including real estate investment trusts and commodity funds, her portfolio began generating returns that meaningfully exceeded inflation while providing better protection during market stress. The correlation problem reveals why traditional portfolios struggle. When economic stress hits, stocks and bonds often move in the same direction, eliminating the diversification benefit investors expect. During the 2008 financial crisis and again during the 2020 pandemic, both asset classes fell simultaneously, leaving investors with nowhere to hide. Alternative investments offer different risk and return characteristics that can improve portfolio performance. Private equity funds pool money from multiple investors to buy and improve companies before selling them, often generating returns that exceed public market performance. These investments require longer holding periods, typically 5 to 10 years, but can produce substantial gains for patient investors. Hedge funds employ sophisticated strategies like short selling, leverage, and derivatives to generate returns regardless of market direction. While historically available only to wealthy investors, many of these strategies are now accessible through liquid alternative mutual funds and exchange-traded funds that require much lower minimum investments. Have you considered how your current investment mix would perform during a period of sustained inflation like we experienced in the 1970s? Commodities represent another asset class that often moves independently of stocks and bonds. Agricultural products, energy, and industrial metals tend to perform well during inflationary periods and economic uncertainty. Investors can access commodity exposure through specialized funds, exchange-traded notes, or direct ownership of physical assets like precious metals. Real estate investment trusts provide exposure to property markets without the complexity of direct ownership. REITs must distribute 90% of their taxable income to shareholders, creating consistent dividend payments that often exceed traditional bond yields. Different REIT categories focus on residential, commercial, healthcare, or infrastructure properties, allowing investors to target specific sectors. Peer-to-peer lending platforms connect investors directly with borrowers, eliminating traditional banks as intermediaries. Investors can earn higher yields than traditional bonds, while borrowers often receive better rates than bank loans. These platforms typically offer loans with terms ranging from 3 to 5 years and allow investors to spread risk across hundreds of individual loans. Crowd-funded real estate platforms have democratized access to commercial property investments. Instead of needing hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy an apartment building, investors can participate with as little as $1,000. These platforms handle property selection, management, and distributions, making real estate investing passive for individual participants. Art, wine, and collectibles represent tangible assets that can appreciate over time while providing personal enjoyment. High-quality art has historically delivered returns comparable to stock markets while having low correlation to traditional financial assets. Modern platforms now allow fractional ownership of expensive artworks, making this asset class accessible to smaller investors. The evaluation process for alternative investments requires different skills than analyzing stocks and bonds. Due diligence must examine the investment manager's track record, fee structure, liquidity terms, and risk management processes. Understanding the underlying economics of each investment type helps investors make informed decisions about allocation and timing. Fee structures in alternative investments often differ significantly from traditional mutual funds. Private equity funds typically charge management fees plus performance fees, known as carried interest. Real estate investments may include acquisition fees, management fees, and disposition fees. Understanding total cost of ownership helps investors compare opportunities and negotiate better terms. Tax considerations play a crucial role in alternative investment selection. Master limited partnerships provide tax-advantaged income from energy infrastructure. Opportunity zone investments offer capital gains deferrals and potential tax elimination for patient investors. Real estate investments provide depreciation benefits that can shelter current income from taxation. Risk assessment for alternatives requires understanding different risk factors than traditional investments. Liquidity risk affects investments that cannot be easily sold, such as private equity or direct real estate. Credit risk impacts peer-to-peer lending and corporate bonds. Regulatory risk affects emerging sectors like cryptocurrency and cannabis investments. How much of your portfolio can you afford to allocate to investments that cannot be quickly converted to cash? Portfolio allocation to alternatives depends on individual circumstances, risk tolerance, and investment timeline. Conservative investors might limit alternatives to 10 to 20% of their portfolio, focusing on liquid options like REITs and commodity funds. More aggressive investors might allocate 30 to 50% to alternatives, including private equity, direct real estate, and emerging asset classes. Geographic diversification within alternatives provides additional risk reduction. International real estate, emerging market private equity, and global commodity exposure help protect against region-specific economic problems. Currency hedging may be appropriate for some international alternative investments, depending on the investor's base currency and risk preferences. The correlation benefits of alternatives become most apparent during periods of market stress. While stocks and bonds might both decline during a recession, real estate income continues. Commodity prices might rise due to supply disruptions, and private equity investments may be less affected by short-term market sentiment. Building a modern investment portfolio requires understanding how different asset classes interact under various economic conditions. The goal is creating a portfolio that generates acceptable returns while maintaining reasonable risk levels across different economic scenarios. This approach requires ongoing monitoring and periodic rebalancing as market conditions and personal circumstances change. Success with alternative investments demands patience, education, and careful selection. Unlike buying an index fund, many alternatives require active management decisions and longer investment horizons. However, the potential for enhanced returns and improved diversification makes this complexity worthwhile for investors committed to building substantial wealth over time. Part 2. Real estate in the digital era. Technology has completely changed how people invest in real estate, making it possible for ordinary investors to build wealth through property without needing huge amounts of money or local market expertise. Modern digital tools and online platforms have removed many traditional barriers, allowing investors to analyze deals, manage properties, and diversify across multiple markets from anywhere in the world. This transformation has created new strategies and opportunities that didn't exist just a decade ago. From fractional ownership platforms to automated property management systems that generate passive income with minimal hands-on involvement. Sarah Martinez discovered this firsthand when she started investing in rental properties from her home in Denver while building a portfolio across 3 different states. Using online analysis tools, she could evaluate potential deals in markets with better cash flow opportunities than her expensive home city. Within 2 years, she owned 5 rental properties, generating monthly income while working her regular job as a marketing manager. Traditional rental property investing remains one of the most reliable wealth-building strategies, but technology has made it far more accessible and efficient. Property analysis platforms now provide instant access to rental comparisons, neighborhood crime statistics, school ratings, and projected cash flow calculations. These tools eliminate much of the guesswork that previously required local market knowledge and extensive research. Online marketplaces have democratized real estate investing through crowdfunding platforms that allow people to invest in commercial properties with as little as $500. Real estate investment trusts available through mobile apps let investors own shares of shopping centers, apartment complexes, and office buildings without managing tenants or maintenance issues. Fractional ownership platforms enable investors to buy portions of individual rental properties and receive monthly distributions from rental income. How might your investment strategy change if you could own pieces of real estate across different markets without the hassle of property management? The rise of short-term rental platforms has created entirely new investment opportunities. Properties near tourist destinations or business centers can often generate significantly higher returns through platforms like Airbnb compared to traditional long-term rentals. Smart investors analyze local regulations, seasonal demand patterns, and competition levels before purchasing properties specifically for short-term rental income. Technology has also streamlined property management operations. Digital platforms handle rent collection, maintenance requests, and tenant screening automatically. Property management software sends automated reminders for lease renewals, tracks expenses for tax purposes, and provides detailed financial reporting. These tools make it possible to manage multiple properties efficiently without hiring expensive management companies. Real estate wholesaling has become more accessible through digital marketing and virtual deal analysis. Wholesalers find distressed properties, get them under contract, then assign the contracts to other investors for quick profits without using their own money for purchases. Online marketing tools help wholesalers find motivated sellers and connect with cash buyers across wider geographic areas. The tax advantages of real estate investing remain powerful wealth-building tools. Depreciation allows investors to deduct a portion of property value each year, reducing taxable income even when properties appreciate in value. Like-kind exchanges allow investors to defer capital gains taxes when selling one property to purchase another. Opportunity zones provide tax incentives for investing in designated economically distressed areas. Consider Michael Chen, who used technology to build a portfolio of 8 rental properties across 4 states while living in California. He started with online education courses, used digital tools to analyze markets with favorable cash flow characteristics, and leveraged video calls for property inspections. His monthly rental income now exceeds his corporate salary, providing financial security and early retirement options. Remote investing requires systematic approaches and reliable local contacts. Successful remote investors build networks of real estate agents, contractors, and property managers in target markets. They use virtual tours, video inspections, and detailed market analysis tools to evaluate properties without physical visits. This approach enables geographic diversification and access to markets with better investment fundamentals than expensive local areas. Market timing plays a crucial role in real estate success. Understanding local economic indicators, population growth trends, and development plans helps investors identify markets positioned for appreciation. However, cash flow should remain the primary focus since rental income provides steady returns regardless of short-term market fluctuations. What factors would you prioritize when choosing between a property with strong cash flow versus one with higher appreciation potential? Building a diversified real estate portfolio requires balancing different property types, geographic markets, and investment strategies. Combining rental properties, REITs, and real estate crowdfunding creates multiple income streams with different risk characteristics. Some investors focus on cash flow through rental properties, while using REITs for exposure to commercial real estate sectors they couldn't access individually. The digital transformation of real estate investing continues accelerating with artificial intelligence tools for property valuation, blockchain-based property records, and virtual reality property tours. These technologies further reduce barriers and increase efficiency for investors willing to adapt to new methods. Success in modern real estate investing requires combining traditional investment principles with new technological capabilities and platforms that didn't exist for previous generations of investors. Part 3. Cryptocurrency and alternative assets. Digital assets represent the most significant shift in investment opportunities since the creation of stock markets centuries ago. Cryptocurrency and blockchain technology have birthed entirely new asset classes that operate independently of traditional financial systems, creating pathways to wealth that bypass conventional gatekeepers. These digital frontiers offer investors the chance to participate in technologies that could reshape how we store value, conduct business, and organize economic activity. The potential rewards are substantial, but so are the risks and complexity involved in these emerging markets. Consider Sarah, a graphic designer who bought Bitcoin in 2017 when it cost $4,000 per coin. By 2021, her investment had grown to over $60,000 per coin, transforming her modest $1,000 purchase into a significant portion of her retirement savings. However, the journey wasn't smooth. She watched her investment lose 80% of its value in 2018 before recovering and eventually soaring to new heights. This volatility characterizes the cryptocurrency space, where fortunes are made and lost with breathtaking speed. Cryptocurrency operates on blockchain technology, which functions like a digital ledger that records every transaction across a network of computers. Think of it as a bank ledger that thousands of people maintain simultaneously, making it nearly impossible to falsify records. Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency, was designed as digital money that no government or bank controls. When you own Bitcoin, you truly own it, stored in a digital wallet that only you can access with your private key. The cryptocurrency ecosystem extends far beyond Bitcoin. Ethereum introduced smart contracts, which are self-executing agreements written in computer code. These contracts automatically perform actions when specific conditions are met, eliminating the need for intermediaries. Imagine a rental agreement that automatically transfers payment to the landlord when you move in, without requiring a property management company to facilitate the transaction. What opportunities in your life could benefit from removing traditional intermediaries? Different cryptocurrencies serve various purposes. Bitcoin functions primarily as a store of value, similar to digital gold. Ethereum powers applications and smart contracts, making it more like a digital platform than just currency. Other coins serve specific functions within their networks. Chainlink connects blockchain networks to real-world data, while Uniswap facilitates trading between different cryptocurrencies without traditional exchanges. The concept of decentralized finance, or DeFi, represents perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of cryptocurrency. DeFi applications recreate traditional financial services like lending, borrowing, and trading without banks or financial institutions. Users can lend their cryptocurrency to others and earn interest, often at rates much higher than traditional savings accounts. Some DeFi platforms offer yields of 5 to 20% annually, though these rates fluctuate based on supply and demand. Mark, a software engineer, discovered he could earn significant income by providing liquidity to decentralized exchanges. he deposits equal amounts of two different cryptocurrencies into a liquidity pool, essentially creating a mini-market for others to trade. In return, he earns a percentage of all trading fees generated by that pool. This strategy generated 15–30% annual returns for Mark, though the value of his deposited cryptocurrencies fluctuated significantly. Staking represents another income-generating opportunity within cryptocurrency. Newer blockchain networks use proof-of-stake mechanisms instead of energy-intensive mining. Coin holders can stake their cryptocurrency, essentially locking it up to help secure the network, and earn rewards for this service. Staking returns typically range from 3 to 12% annually, providing steady income from cryptocurrency holdings. However, cryptocurrency investing carries substantial risks that traditional investments don't face. Regulatory uncertainty creates constant concerns about government crackdowns or new restrictions. Technical risks include smart contract bugs, exchange hacks, and the permanent loss of funds due to forgotten passwords or corrupted wallets. The infamous case of James Howells, who accidentally threw away a hard drive containing 7,500 Bitcoin worth over $200 million, illustrates the unforgiving nature of cryptocurrency storage. The volatility of cryptocurrency markets exceeds that of almost any other asset class. Daily price swings of 10 to 20% are common, and some smaller cryptocurrencies can lose 90% of their value in market downturns. This volatility creates opportunities for substantial gains, but also the potential for devastating losses. Position sizing becomes critical, with most financial advisors recommending cryptocurrency allocations of 1 to 5% of total investment portfolios. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, represent another category of digital assets that gain significant attention. NFTs are unique digital items verified on blockchain networks, often representing art, collectibles, or virtual items in games. While some NFTs sold for millions of dollars, the market proved highly speculative, with many NFT values declining significantly after the initial hype. Virtual real estate and metaverse platforms like Decentraland and The Sandbox created new investment categories. Investors purchase digital land parcels that can be developed, rented, or sold, similar to physical real estate. Some virtual properties sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, though the long-term value proposition remains unclear as these digital worlds are still developing. How do you evaluate the value of something that exists only in digital form? Cryptocurrency mining evolved from individual computers solving complex mathematical problems to industrial-scale operations consuming enormous amounts of electricity. Bitcoin mining requires specialized hardware and cheap electricity to remain profitable. However, newer proof-of-stake networks allow individuals to earn mining-like rewards through staking without expensive equipment or high energy costs. Tax implications of cryptocurrency investing can be complex and vary by jurisdiction. In many countries, cryptocurrency transactions are taxable events, meaning selling cryptocurrency or using it to purchase goods creates capital gains or losses that must be reported. Record-keeping becomes crucial, as investors must track the purchase price, sale price, and date of every transaction. Some transactions, like moving cryptocurrency between your own wallets, may not be taxable, while others, like earning cryptocurrency through staking or DeFi activities, may be considered taxable income. Institutional adoption has brought more stability and legitimacy to cryptocurrency markets. Major corporations like MicroStrategy and Tesla added Bitcoin to their corporate treasuries. Traditional financial institutions began offering cryptocurrency services to clients. Exchange-traded funds tracking Bitcoin and Ethereum gained approval in various countries, allowing traditional investors to gain cryptocurrency exposure through familiar investment vehicles. The security of cryptocurrency holdings requires different practices than traditional investments. Unlike stocks held by brokers, cryptocurrency stored improperly can be permanently lost. Hardware wallets, physical devices that store cryptocurrency offline, provide the highest security level. Software wallets on computers or phones offer convenience but carry higher risks of hacking. Many investors use a combination, keeping small amounts in software wallets for regular use and larger amounts in hardware wallets for long-term storage. Cryptocurrency exchanges serve as marketplaces for buying and selling digital assets. Centralized exchanges like Coinbase and Binance offer user-friendly interfaces and customer support, but require users to trust the exchange with their funds. Decentralized exchanges operate without central authorities, allowing users to maintain control of their funds, but with more complex interfaces and limited customer support options. The integration of cryptocurrency into broader investment portfolios requires careful consideration. Some investors treat cryptocurrency as a hedge against traditional financial system risks, similar to gold. Others view it as a high-growth technology investment, comparable to investing in internet companies in the 1990s. The low correlation between cryptocurrency and traditional assets can provide diversification benefits, though this correlation has increased during market stress periods. Dollar-cost averaging works well for cryptocurrency investing, helping smooth out extreme volatility. Rather than investing a large sum at once, investors make regular purchases, regardless of price, potentially reducing the impact of timing decisions. This strategy proved effective for long-term Bitcoin investors who maintained consistent buying through multiple market cycles. Risk management in cryptocurrency investing extends beyond position sizing to include technical security measures, diversification across different types of digital assets, and understanding the specific risks of each investment. Smart contract risks, regulatory risks, and technology risks each require different mitigation strategies. The rapid pace of development in cryptocurrency means that today's best practices may become obsolete quickly, requiring ongoing education and adaptation. The future of cryptocurrency and digital assets continues evolving rapidly, with new technologies, regulations, and applications emerging constantly. Central bank digital currencies may compete with or complement existing cryptocurrencies. Environmental concerns about energy consumption are driving innovation in more sustainable blockchain technologies. The intersection of artificial intelligence and blockchain technology promises new applications and investment opportunities that don't exist today. Part 4. Building your investment portfolio. Building a strong investment portfolio today requires much more than the simple strategies that worked for previous generations. The modern investor faces a complex landscape of traditional and alternative assets, new technologies, and evolving market dynamics that demand a more sophisticated approach. This comprehensive framework will guide you through constructing and managing a portfolio that adapts to today's realities while staying true to proven investment principles. You'll discover how to balance different asset classes, optimize for taxes, and create a system that grows your wealth regardless of market conditions. The traditional 60-40 stock-bond portfolio that dominated investment advice for decades no longer provides the diversification and returns it once did. Today's ultra-low interest rate environment has compressed bond yields while increasing their correlation with stocks during market stress. Meanwhile, new asset classes and investment vehicles have emerged that offer better risk-adjusted returns and improved diversification benefits. Modern portfolio construction starts with understanding your personal investment profile. This goes beyond simple age-based formulas to include your income stability, career prospects, existing assets, and specific financial goals. A tech entrepreneur with volatile income needs a different portfolio structure than a tenured professor with predictable earnings, even if they're the same age. Consider Sarah, a 35-year-old marketing director earning $85,000 annually. Traditional advice would suggest 65% stocks and 35% bonds. However, her modern portfolio includes 40% domestic stocks, 20% international stocks, 15% real estate investment trusts, 10% commodities, 10% bonds, and 5% alternative investments. This diversification provides better inflation protection and reduces overall portfolio volatility while maintaining growth potential. The foundation of any portfolio remains equity investments, but today's approach requires global thinking. Domestic stocks should represent your home country bias, while international exposure captures growth in emerging markets and provides currency diversification. Factor-based investing has evolved beyond simple value and growth distinctions to include quality, momentum, and low volatility factors that can enhance returns over time. International diversification becomes crucial as economies become increasingly interconnected yet maintain different cycles. European markets might perform well when U.S. markets struggle, while emerging markets can provide growth when developed markets stagnate. However, currency risk and political instability require careful position sizing in international holdings. Real estate deserves significant allocation in modern portfolios, not just through direct property ownership, but through REITs, real estate crowdfunding platforms, and international real estate exposure. Real estate provides inflation protection, generates income, and typically maintains low correlation with stock markets over long periods. What percentage of your portfolio currently consists of assets that didn't exist 20 years ago? This question highlights how rapidly the investment landscape has changed and why traditional allocation models need updating. Alternative investments now play a larger role in well-constructed portfolios. Commodities provide inflation hedges and portfolio diversification during economic uncertainty. Precious metals offer crisis protection, while agricultural commodities benefit from global population growth. Energy investments can hedge against inflation while participating in the transition to renewable energy sources. Tax efficiency has become increasingly important as tax rates rise and regulations become more complex. Asset location optimization means holding tax-inefficient investments in retirement accounts while keeping tax-efficient investments in taxable accounts. Tax loss harvesting allows you to offset gains with losses, reducing your overall tax burden while maintaining portfolio exposure. The mechanics of tax-efficient investing require understanding different account types. Traditional 401k contributions reduce current taxes, but create future tax obligations. Roth accounts use after-tax dollars, but provide tax-free growth and withdrawals. Health savings accounts offer triple tax advantages when used properly for retirement planning. Rebalancing strategies need updating for today's markets where traditional correlations break down during stress periods. Instead of rigid quarterly rebalancing, successful investors use threshold-based rebalancing that triggers when allocations drift beyond predetermined ranges. This approach captures more market volatility while reducing transaction costs. The role of cash in portfolios extends beyond emergency funds to include tactical positions for taking advantage of market dislocations. Maintaining 5 to 10% in cash equivalents provides flexibility to increase equity positions during market downturns, while ensuring you can meet short-term obligations without selling investments at poor prices. Technology has democratized access to sophisticated investment strategies previously available only to institutional investors. Robo-advisors provide automated rebalancing and tax loss harvesting at low costs. Online platforms offer access to private equity, hedge funds, and real estate investments with lower minimum investments than traditional channels. Working with financial advisors requires understanding fee structures and maintaining control over investment decisions. Fee-only advisors charge for advice without selling products, while commission-based advisors earn money from the investments they sell. Understanding these incentives helps you choose advisors whose interests align with yours. Portfolio monitoring requires focusing on relevant benchmarks rather than short-term performance fluctuations. Your portfolio should be compared to a custom benchmark that reflects your actual asset allocation rather than generic market indices. This provides meaningful performance evaluation and helps identify when changes are necessary. How often do you review your portfolio allocation compared to how often you check account balances? This distinction matters because frequent monitoring of account values can lead to emotional decision-making, while infrequent allocation reviews can allow portfolios to drift from target allocations. Performance evaluation should focus on risk-adjusted returns rather than absolute returns. A portfolio that gains 8% with low volatility often provides better long-term wealth building than one that gains 12% with high volatility, especially when you factor in the psychological costs of market stress and the likelihood of making poor decisions during volatile periods. The integration of environmental, social, and governance factors into investment decisions has evolved from niche investing to mainstream consideration. ESG investing no longer requires sacrificing returns, as companies with strong ESG profiles often demonstrate better long-term performance and risk management. Modern portfolio construction requires balancing these various elements while maintaining simplicity in execution. The best portfolio is one you can stick with through various market cycles, understanding that perfection matters less than consistency and discipline in implementation. Chapter 5. The Mindset Shift. Part 1. Thinking like an owner, not an employee. The fundamental difference between building wealth and staying financially stuck often comes down to one critical factor: how you think about problems, opportunities, and your role in creating value. While most people approach work and money with an employee mindset focused on security and immediate rewards, those who achieve true financial independence think like owners who create systems, solve problems, and build long-term value. This mental shift transforms how you see every challenge, every dollar, and every decision in your life. Understanding these thought patterns opens the door to financial opportunities that remain invisible to traditional thinking. The most striking difference between employee and owner thinking shows up in how each group approaches problems. When employees encounter difficulties at work, their natural response involves reporting the issue to someone else or waiting for instructions on how to proceed. This approach makes perfect sense within the structure of employment, where clear hierarchies and defined roles create order and efficiency. Owners, however, see problems as profit opportunities. When Sam Walton noticed that rural communities lacked access to affordable retail goods, he didn't complain about the inconvenience or wait for someone else to solve it. He recognized a problem that millions of people faced and built Walmart to address that need. Every successful business starts with someone identifying a problem and deciding to create a solution rather than hope someone else handles it. Consider how differently these mindsets approach a simple scenario. When a restaurant consistently has long wait times, an employee might mention the issue to management and feel frustrated by the slow service. An owner sees the same situation and wonders, what systems could reduce wait times? Could technology streamline ordering? Is there a way to entertain customers while they wait? Each question represents a potential business opportunity. This problem-solving orientation extends beyond obvious business situations into everyday life. Owners constantly ask themselves what needs aren't being met and how they might address those gaps. They develop what researchers call opportunity recognition skills that allow them to spot potential ventures where others see only inconveniences. The relationship with money reveals another fundamental difference between these mindsets. Employees typically think of money as something earned through time and effort, creating a direct correlation between hours worked and dollars received. This linear thinking makes perfect sense for wage earners, but severely limits wealth-building potential. Owners view money as a tool for creating more value and generating additional income streams. They understand that money can work independently of their time through investments, business systems, and asset creation. When an owner earns $1,000, the first question becomes, how can this money generate more money? The employee's first question typically involves, what should I buy with this money? Take Maria, a graphic designer who worked as an employee for 5 years before starting her own agency. As an employee, she calculated her worth by hourly rates and focused on completing assigned projects efficiently. When she shifted to owner thinking, she began seeing every design project as an opportunity to build systems, create templates, and develop processes that could generate income beyond her direct involvement. Within 2 years, Maria built a team that could handle routine projects while she focused on high-value strategic work and business development. Her income multiplied not because she worked more hours, but because she created systems that generated value without requiring her constant presence. How often do you find yourself thinking about time for money exchanges versus value creation opportunities? Risk perception represents another area where these mindsets diverge dramatically. Employees typically prioritize security and predictability, viewing risk as something to avoid whenever possible. This approach provides comfort and stability, which serves important purposes in life and society. Owners, however, understand that avoiding all risk often represents the greatest risk of all. They recognize that inflation, economic changes, and industry shifts can eliminate seemingly secure positions without warning. Instead of avoiding risk entirely, they focus on taking calculated risks with favorable risk-reward ratios. The key difference lies in preparation and analysis. While employees might see starting a business as a dangerous gamble, owners spend months researching markets, testing assumptions, and building safety nets before making moves. They understand that preparation transforms gambling into intelligent risk-taking. Consider David, who worked in corporate finance for 15 years before starting an investment firm. As an employee, he viewed any deviation from his steady paycheck as dangerous and irresponsible. When he began thinking like an owner, he realized that depending entirely on one employer actually represented enormous risk concentration. He spent 2 years building relationships, studying market opportunities, and saving money before launching his firm. By the time he made the transition, he had reduced the risk through careful planning and preparation. His risky move actually provided more security than his previous job because he controlled multiple income sources and client relationships. Accountability represents perhaps the most powerful difference between these mindsets. Employees can often blame circumstances, management decisions, or market conditions for their outcomes. While these external factors certainly influence results, employees typically focus on elements outside their control. Owners take complete responsibility for outcomes, regardless of external circumstances. This accountability mindset initially feels heavier and more challenging, but it provides tremendous power. When you accept responsibility for your results, you also accept the ability to change those results through different decisions and actions. This ownership mentality shows up in language patterns. Employees often use phrases like "they should have told me," or "it's not my fault the system doesn't work." Owners use language like "what could I have done differently?" and "how can I prevent this problem in the future?" The accountability mindset drives owners to develop systems thinking skills that connect seemingly unrelated events and outcomes. They understand that small decisions compound over time and that today's choices create tomorrow's circumstances. Strategic thinking represents the natural evolution of this ownership mentality. While employees typically focus on immediate tasks and short-term results, owners develop long-term perspectives that guide daily decisions. They ask questions like, where will this industry be in 10 years? What skills will become more valuable? How can current investments position me for future opportunities? This strategic approach requires developing comfort with uncertainty and complexity. Owners learn to make decisions with incomplete information while remaining flexible enough to adjust course as new data emerges. They build scenarios and contingency plans rather than expecting single outcomes. What long-term trends in your industry or interest could create opportunities for value creation? The transition from employee to owner thinking doesn't happen overnight, nor does it require immediately quitting your job to start a business. Many successful entrepreneurs and investors developed ownership mindsets while working for others, using their employment as a foundation for building wealth through side businesses, investments, and skill development. The key involves consciously practicing owner thinking patterns in your current situation. Look for problems to solve rather than waiting for assignments. Think about how your work creates value for others rather than just completing tasks. Consider how your skills could generate income beyond your current role. Start asking different questions about money, risk, and opportunity. Instead of "how can I get a raise?" consider "how can I create more value?" Rather than "what if this investment loses money?" think "what's the potential upside relative to the downside risk?" This mental shift creates the foundation for all other wealth-building activities. Without the proper mindset, even the best strategies and opportunities remain ineffective. With owner thinking firmly established, every challenge becomes a potential stepping stone toward greater financial independence and life satisfaction. Part 2. Overcoming fear and taking calculated risks. Fear acts as both protector and prison in the journey toward financial independence. While it keeps us safe from genuine dangers, it also prevents us from seizing opportunities that could transform our financial future. Understanding how to work with fear rather than against it makes the difference between those who build wealth and those who remain trapped in financial mediocrity. The most successful entrepreneurs and investors have learned to use fear as valuable information while developing the emotional skills needed to take intelligent risks that create lasting prosperity. Fear shows up in many forms when we consider moving from employee to owner thinking. Fear of failure haunts most people considering their first business venture or investment. Sarah, a marketing manager, avoided investing in real estate for years because she worried about losing her savings. Her fear seemed rational until she calculated that inflation was already eroding her purchasing power while she waited for the perfect opportunity that never came. Fear of success creates an equally powerful barrier. This seems strange until you realize that success brings responsibility, visibility, and pressure to maintain performance. Mike, a talented software engineer, repeatedly sabotaged his consulting business just as it began generating significant income. He feared that success would change his relationships and create expectations he couldn't meet. Fear of judgment from others often proves the most paralyzing. When Jennifer announced her plan to leave her corporate job to start a food truck business, family members questioned her sanity. Their concern came from love, but reflected their own limiting beliefs about risk and opportunity. The emotional weight of disappointing people we care about can crush entrepreneurial dreams before they begin. How often do you let other people's fears about money influence your own financial decisions? The key lies in distinguishing between intelligent risk-taking and reckless gambling. Intelligent risks involve careful analysis, preparation, and calculated exposure to potential losses. When David decided to buy his first rental property, he spent months studying the local market, analyzing cash flows, and building relationships with experienced investors. He started with a modest duplex, rather than attempting to flip luxury homes like the television shows suggested. Reckless gambling, by contrast, involves emotional decisions based on hope rather than analysis. Lottery tickets, get-rich-quick schemes, and investments in companies you don't understand fall into this category. The difference isn't the amount of money involved, but the quality of decision-making behind the choice. Successful risk management begins with education and preparation. Before making any significant financial decision, gather information from multiple sources. Study both success stories and failures in your chosen area. Talk to people who have experience with similar opportunities. Calculate potential outcomes under different scenarios, including worst-case situations. Starting small allows you to build risk tolerance gradually while learning from real experience. Lisa began her real estate investing career with a small duplex that required minimal down payment. The lessons she learned managing that first property prepared her for larger deals. Each success built confidence, while each challenge improved her skills. The framework for evaluating opportunities involves examining both upside potential and downside protection. Ask yourself what could go right and what could go wrong. Consider how much you could reasonably lose if everything goes badly and whether you can afford that loss. Evaluate whether the potential gains justify the risks involved. What's the worst realistic outcome you could handle if your next financial decision doesn't work out as planned? Managing the emotional aspects of financial decisions requires developing specific skills. Meditation, exercise, and adequate sleep help maintain clear thinking during stressful periods. Having trusted advisors to discuss decisions prevents isolation and provides objective perspectives when emotions run high. Reframing failure as education changes everything about risk perception. Thomas Edison didn't fail 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work, bringing him closer to the solution. Every business setback teaches valuable lessons about markets, customers, operations, or timing that improve future decisions. Building supportive relationships becomes crucial for managing fear and maintaining motivation. Surround yourself with people who understand entrepreneurial challenges and can provide encouragement during difficult periods. Avoid spending too much time with people who consistently discourage risk-taking or express negative attitudes about business and investing. Developing emotional equilibrium prevents the extreme reactions that lead to poor decisions. Success can create overconfidence that leads to excessive risk-taking. Failure can generate despair that prevents taking any risks at all. The goal is maintaining steady judgment regardless of recent outcomes. Preparation reduces fear by increasing confidence in your ability to handle challenges. Before launching her consulting practice, Maria spent months building relationships with potential clients, developing service offerings, and creating financial reserves to cover expenses during the startup period. This preparation made her first year much less stressful than it would have been otherwise. Using fear as information rather than letting it paralyze decision-making transforms it from enemy to ally. Fear often signals areas where you need more knowledge, preparation, or support. Instead of avoiding fearful situations, investigate what specific concerns are driving the fear and address them systematically. The path from employee to owner thinking requires courage, but not reckless bravery. It demands the emotional intelligence to work with fear constructively while developing the analytical skills needed for intelligent risk-taking. With these capabilities, every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow both financially and personally. Part 3. The power of financial education. Financial education represents the fuel that powers every successful wealth-building journey, yet most people graduate from school completely unprepared for real-world financial challenges. Unlike traditional academics that teach theoretical knowledge, financial education focuses on practical skills that directly impact your ability to generate, manage, and multiply money. This continuous learning process builds upon itself with each new concept, creating opportunities to see patterns and connections that were previously invisible. The most successful business owners and investors share one common trait. They never stop learning about money, markets, and opportunities. Through deliberate study and application, financial education transforms from an abstract concept into a powerful tool for creating lasting financial independence. Traditional schools teach students to become good employees, not wealthy individuals. Students learn algebra and history, but graduate without understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. They memorize dates and formulas, but never learn how compound interest works, or why taxes consume such a large portion of their income. The educational system prepares people to work for money rather than teaching them how to make money work for them. Consider Sarah, a college graduate with a degree in marketing. Despite 4 years of education, she had no idea how to read a financial statement, calculate return on investment, or understand basic tax strategies. When she started her first job, she earned a good salary but watched most of it disappear to taxes, expenses, and poor spending habits. Only when she began educating herself about personal finance did she realize how many opportunities she had been missing. Financial education differs fundamentally from academic learning because it focuses on application rather than memorization. While schools reward students for giving the right answer, financial education rewards those who ask better questions and find creative solutions to real problems. This type of learning requires active participation, experimentation, and willingness to make mistakes. The foundation of financial education begins with understanding basic accounting principles. You cannot build wealth without knowing the difference between assets and liabilities, income and expenses, cash flow and net worth. These concepts seem simple on the surface but become powerful tools when applied consistently. Assets put money in your pocket, while liabilities take money out. This distinction sounds obvious, yet most people spend their lives accumulating liabilities while believing they are building wealth. Real estate provides a perfect example of this confusion. Many people consider their primary residence an asset, but from a cash flow perspective, it functions as a liability. The house requires monthly payments for mortgage, insurance, taxes, and maintenance without generating income. A rental property that produces positive cash flow after all expenses represents a true asset because it puts money in your pocket each month. How clearly can you distinguish between your assets and liabilities right now? Take a moment to list your major possessions and determine which ones generate income versus those that create expenses. Tax education becomes crucial because taxes represent the largest expense for most working people. Employees pay taxes on their gross income with limited deductions available. Business owners enjoy numerous legal strategies for reducing their tax burden while building wealth. Understanding tax law helps explain why the wealthy often pay lower effective tax rates than middle-class employees, despite earning more money. Investment education encompasses far more than stock picking or mutual fund selection. Successful investors understand market cycles, risk management, diversification strategies, and the psychological factors that drive market behavior. They learn to think in terms of cash flow, appreciation potential, tax benefits, and time horizons, rather than focusing solely on short-term price movements. Business strategy education teaches how to identify market opportunities, create value for customers, build systems and processes, and scale operations efficiently. These skills apply whether you start your own company, purchase an existing business, or invest in other people's enterprises. Understanding business fundamentals helps you evaluate opportunities and avoid costly mistakes. The compound effect of financial education accelerates over time as new knowledge builds upon previous learning. Each concept creates connections with other ideas, forming a web of understanding that reveals patterns and opportunities others miss. Someone who understands both tax law and real estate investing might recognize depreciation strategies that create significant tax advantages. An entrepreneur who studies psychology might develop better marketing approaches than competitors who focus only on product features. Learning from both successes and failures provides valuable education that cannot be found in textbooks. Studying how successful entrepreneurs built their fortunes reveals common strategies and thinking patterns worth emulating. Analyzing business failures teaches equally important lessons about what to avoid and how to recognize warning signs before they become critical problems. Warren Buffett spent decades studying the annual reports of successful companies, learning how great businesses operate and what characteristics lead to long-term profitability. He also studied failed businesses to understand what mistakes to avoid. This combination of positive and negative examples shaped his investment philosophy and contributed to his remarkable success. Modern financial education requires staying current with changing markets, regulations, and opportunities. Tax laws change regularly, creating new strategies while eliminating others. Technology creates new business models and investment opportunities while making others obsolete. Global economic trends affect currency values, commodity prices, and market conditions in ways that create both risks and opportunities for prepared investors. Investment clubs provide excellent opportunities for ongoing education and practical experience. Members pool resources to make investments while sharing research, analysis, and decision-making responsibilities. This collaborative approach accelerates learning while reducing individual risk. Many successful investors credit their investment club experience with teaching them fundamental skills and providing motivation to continue learning. Mastermind groups bring together entrepreneurs and investors who meet regularly to share challenges, opportunities, and insights. These relationships often prove more valuable than formal education because members share real-world experience and current market intelligence. The accountability aspect helps maintain focus on long-term goals while providing encouragement during difficult periods. What specific financial skill would have the greatest impact on your current situation if you mastered it over the next 6 months? Professional associations offer seminars, conferences, and continuing education programs that keep members current with industry developments. Real estate investment associations, entrepreneurship organizations, and professional groups provide networking opportunities while delivering practical education from experienced practitioners. Quality financial education comes from multiple sources, but not all sources provide equal value. Successful practitioners who have achieved the results you desire make better teachers than academic theorists with no practical experience. Books written by wealthy entrepreneurs and investors contain insights that cannot be found in general business courses. Seminars and workshops led by active professionals provide current information and networking opportunities. Avoiding scams and misleading information requires developing judgment and critical thinking skills. Promises of quick riches, guaranteed returns, or secret systems that require large upfront payments almost always lead to disappointment. Legitimate education provides principles and strategies that require effort and time to implement successfully. The best teachers focus on education rather than selling investment products or business opportunities. Building your financial education requires the same commitment and consistency as developing any valuable skill. Regular study habits, practical application, and continuous learning create the knowledge base necessary for making intelligent financial decisions. The investment in education pays dividends throughout your lifetime, as each new insight creates opportunities for better decision-making and wealth building. Financial education transforms how you see the world around you. Every business becomes a case study in success or failure principles. Every investment opportunity gets evaluated through frameworks learned from studying successful investors. Every financial decision benefits from accumulated knowledge about taxes, cash flow, and risk management. This educated perspective creates confidence and clarity that enables bold action when opportunities arise. Part 4. Surrounding yourself with the right people. Your social circle determines your financial future more than any other single factor. The conversations you have, the attitudes you absorb, and the opportunities you encounter all stem from the people around you. While technical knowledge and market timing matter, the relationships you cultivate create the foundation for sustained wealth building. This section reveals how to strategically build a network that accelerates your journey from employee to investor and business owner, providing practical frameworks for finding mentors, building genuine connections, and managing relationships that either support or sabotage your financial goals. Sarah worked as a marketing manager for 8 years, consistently earning good money but never building real wealth. Every lunch conversation centered on weekend plans, office gossip, and complaints about management. Her friends viewed investing as gambling and business ownership as impossibly risky. When Sarah finally joined a real estate investment group, everything changed within 6 months. She heard different conversations about cash flow, property markets, and tax strategies. Group members shared deal opportunities and financing connections. Most importantly, she absorbed a completely different mindset about money and risk. This transformation illustrates a fundamental principle that shapes financial success. Research consistently shows that people adopt the attitudes, behaviors, and outcomes of their closest associates. If your 5 closest relationships involve people who live paycheck to paycheck, avoid financial risk, and view wealthy people with suspicion, these perspectives become your default programming. Consider how this plays out in daily interactions. Employee-minded friends complain when you work evenings on a side business, viewing it as unnecessary stress rather than wealth building. They question why you read investment books instead of watching television. Their well-meaning advice steers you towards safety and conformity rather than growth and opportunity. What specific conversations have you had about money in the past month, and how did they influence your financial decisions? The shift requires intentional relationship building rather than hoping the right people appear. Successful investors and entrepreneurs actively seek connections with people operating at higher levels. They join professional associations, attend industry conferences, and participate in mastermind groups where conversations focus on opportunities rather than obstacles. Take Michael, who transitioned from corporate accounting to real estate development. Instead of spending evenings with former colleagues complaining about work, he joined a commercial real estate association. Monthly meetings exposed him to developers, lenders, and contractors. Within 2 years, these connections provided his first development opportunity through a partner who needed someone with financial expertise. The networking approach matters significantly. Effective relationship building focuses on providing value before asking for help. When Michael attended real estate meetings, he offered free financial analysis for members considering deals. This generosity created goodwill and positioned him as a valuable resource. When opportunities arose, people naturally thought of him. Building your wealth-supporting network requires multiple relationship categories. Mentors provide guidance based on experience, having achieved what you want to accomplish. Advisors offer specialized expertise in areas like taxes, legal structures, and investment analysis. Peers share similar goals and can provide accountability and deal flow. Each relationship type serves different purposes in your wealth-building journey. Finding quality mentors requires strategic thinking. Successful people receive countless requests for their time, so your approach must demonstrate genuine interest in learning rather than just asking for money or opportunities. Start by studying their background, understanding their expertise, and identifying specific ways you can contribute value to their activities. James wanted mentorship from a successful franchise owner, but approached the relationship thoughtfully. He researched the industry, analyzed the mentor's businesses, and prepared specific questions about expansion strategies. Instead of asking for general advice, he requested guidance on a detailed business plan he had developed. This preparation impressed the mentor and led to an ongoing relationship. Professional relationships require consistent nurturing through regular communication, sharing relevant opportunities, and maintaining contact even when you do not need immediate help. The strongest networks develop through mutual benefit rather than one-sided requests for assistance. How do the people around you currently talk about wealthy individuals? And how might these attitudes affect your own wealth-building efforts? Mastermind groups create particularly powerful environments for growth because they combine multiple relationship types. A good mastermind includes people slightly ahead of your current level, peers facing similar challenges, and occasionally someone more experienced who provides perspective. Regular meetings force accountability and expose you to different approaches for solving common problems. Investment clubs serve similar functions while focusing specifically on financial markets and opportunities. Club members share research, analyze potential investments, and sometimes pool resources for larger opportunities. The education value comes through group discussions that expose you to different analytical approaches and risk assessment methods. Managing existing relationships requires delicate balance. Family and longtime friends may not understand your wealth-building activities and could feel threatened by your changing priorities. Rather than abandoning these relationships, set clear boundaries about financial discussions and find common ground in other areas. When relatives question your investment activities or business ventures, avoid detailed explanations that invite criticism. Simple responses like, "I am exploring different opportunities," redirect conversations away from financial topics. Focus relationship time on shared interests and activities that maintain connection without conflict. The transition period feels uncomfortable as you spend less time with people who drain energy and more time building new connections. This discomfort signals growth rather than problems. Your changing social environment reflects changing priorities and goals. Accountability partners provide crucial support during this transition. These relationships focus specifically on financial goals and progress tracking. Regular check-ins create external pressure to maintain momentum when motivation wanes. The best accountability partners operate at similar levels and share compatible goals while bringing different strengths to the relationship. Professional advisors form another critical relationship category, requiring careful selection. Your accountant should understand business structures and tax optimization rather than just preparing basic returns. Legal advisors need experience with investment and business transactions. Financial advisors should align with your wealth-building philosophy rather than pushing products that generate commissions. Building these advisory relationships takes time and often requires changing providers as your needs become more sophisticated. The accountant who served you well as an employee may lack expertise for business ownership or complex investing. Upgrading advisors signals progress and creates access to higher-level strategies and opportunities. Your evolving network creates compound benefits as relationships interconnect. The attorney recommended by your mentor introduces you to other clients with complementary expertise. Investment group members share deals and financing sources. Advisory relationships often lead to business opportunities as professionals see your capabilities firsthand. This network effect accelerates wealth building beyond what individual effort can achieve. Opportunities flow through relationships faster than through cold outreach or advertising. Trust develops through mutual connections rather than starting from zero with every new contact. The time investment in relationship building pays enormous dividends as your network matures. Quality relationships require consistent attention but create lasting value through shared opportunities, collective knowledge, and mutual support during challenging periods. Your financial future depends largely on whether the people around you support or sabotage your wealth-building efforts. Choose relationships intentionally, invest time in valuable connections, and create boundaries that protect your growth trajectory. The conversations happening around your dinner table and coffee meetings shape your financial destiny more than market conditions or economic trends. Chapter 6, Your 90-Day Action Plan. Part 1, Assessing Your Current Quadrant. Understanding exactly where you stand financially is the foundation of any successful wealth-building strategy. This assessment process goes beyond simple income calculations to examine the true nature of your money sources, their sustainability, and growth potential. Most people operate with incomplete knowledge about their financial position, often misclassifying their income streams or overlooking critical dependencies that could derail their plans. Through systematic evaluation using proven frameworks and honest self-reflection, you can identify your current quadrant placement and create a realistic roadmap for transition to higher levels of financial freedom. The cash flow quadrant framework divides income sources into 4 categories: employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. Each quadrant represents different approaches to generating money with distinct characteristics regarding time investment, scalability, and long-term potential. Employees trade time for money in structured environments. Self-employed individuals own their jobs but remain tied to active work. Business owners create systems that generate income without their constant presence. Investors put money to work, creating passive income streams. Sarah thought she was a business owner because she owned a marketing consultancy with 3 employees. However, deeper analysis revealed that 80% of her income came from her personal client relationships. She worked 60 hours per week, and the business would collapse if she took extended time off. Sarah was actually self-employed, not a business owner. This distinction matters because self-employed income requires constant personal involvement, limiting scalability and creating significant risk if you become unable to work. Many people struggle with accurate quadrant identification because they focus on titles rather than income characteristics. A restaurant owner who spends every day managing operations is self-employed. A franchise owner who hires managers and collects profits while traveling is a business owner. The difference lies in whether your presence is required for income generation. Start your assessment by tracking all income sources for the past 12 months. Create 4 columns representing each quadrant and list every dollar earned under its appropriate category. Include salary, bonuses, consulting fees, business profits, dividends, rental income, and any other money received. Calculate the percentage of total income from each quadrant to understand your current financial structure. How much of your income would continue if you stopped working for 6 months? This question reveals the sustainability of your income streams and highlights dependencies you might not recognize. Employee income stops immediately when you stop working. Self-employed income typically stops within weeks unless you have systems maintaining client relationships. Business income continues if proper systems exist. Investment income continues regardless of your work status. Time commitment analysis reveals another critical dimension of quadrant placement. Document how many hours you spend generating income in each category. Include direct work time, administrative tasks, client communication, and business development activities. Many self-employed individuals underestimate their true time investment because they don't count evening emails, weekend planning, or networking events. Mike earned $150,000 annually from his law practice and thought he was successful. When he calculated his hourly rate, including all work-related time, he discovered he made less per hour than many employees. More concerning, his income was entirely dependent on his ability to work, creating significant risk for his family's financial security. Income scalability assessment examines whether you can significantly increase earnings without proportionally increasing time investment. Employee income typically scales through promotions or job changes. Self-employed, income scales by working more hours or raising rates, both having practical limits. Business income can scale dramatically through system improvements and team expansion. Investment income scales through reinvestment and compound growth. Transferability analysis determines whether income streams can continue without your direct involvement. Can you sell your income source? Would it operate if you were unavailable for months? Employee positions aren't transferable. Self-employed practices have limited transferability because they depend on personal relationships and skills. Well-structured businesses can be sold or transferred. Investments are typically transferable. Net worth calculation provides another perspective on financial position. List all assets including cash, investments, real estate, business equity, and personal property. Subtract all debts including mortgages, credit cards, student loans, and business liabilities. Track net worth changes over time to understand whether your current strategy builds wealth effectively. What percentage of your net worth generates passive income? This metric indicates your progress toward financial independence. If most net worth is tied up in your primary residence and retirement accounts, you're likely in the employee or self-employed quadrants with limited passive income generation. Monthly cash flow analysis examines the relationship between income and expenses. Track all money coming in and going out for several months to understand spending patterns and identify opportunities for optimization. Many people discover they spend more than they realize on categories that don't contribute to long-term wealth building. Skill assessment identifies strengths and gaps relevant to different quadrants. Employees need job-specific skills and professional development. Self-employed individuals need technical expertise plus basic business skills. Business owners need leadership, systems thinking, and team management capabilities. Investors need financial literacy, market analysis skills, and risk management knowledge. Resource evaluation examines what you have available for quadrant transition. Consider financial resources, time availability, network connections, knowledge base, and family support. Realistic assessment prevents overcommitting to changes you can't sustain while identifying advantages you might overlook. John wanted to become an investor, but had no savings and limited financial knowledge. Instead of trying to jump directly to the investor quadrant, he started by moving from employee to self-employed, using consulting income to build capital and learn about business before gradually moving into investments. Common misconceptions often prevent accurate assessment. Having a business license doesn't make you a business owner if you perform all the work personally. Owning rental property doesn't automatically make you an investor if you personally manage every aspect. Stock ownership through employer plans doesn't represent investor quadrant activity if you make no active investment decisions. Family involvement in assessment ensures everyone understands current financial reality and supports necessary changes. Include spouse and older children in discussions about income sources, spending patterns, and financial goals. Family members often provide valuable perspectives and identify issues you might miss. Benchmarking against others in similar situations provides realistic expectations for transition timelines. Research typical progression patterns for people with your background, resources, and goals. While everyone's journey is unique, understanding common timeframes prevents unrealistic expectations that lead to discouragement. Timeline assessment considers how long quadrant transitions typically take. Moving from employee to self-employed might take months. Building a true business often requires years. Developing significant investment income usually takes decades, unless you have substantial starting capital. Risk evaluation identifies vulnerabilities in your current financial structure. What would happen if your primary income source disappeared? How would illness or disability affect your finances? Are you overdependent on single clients, employers, or investment types? Honest risk assessment reveals areas needing attention before they become problems. Regular reassessment ensures your quadrant understanding remains accurate as circumstances change. Schedule quarterly reviews to update income percentages, evaluate new opportunities, and adjust strategies based on results. What seems like business income might prove to be sophisticated self-employment, requiring strategy adjustments. The goal of assessment isn't judgment, but clarity. Most people start in employee or self-employed quadrants, and these positions serve important purposes in wealth-building journeys. Understanding exactly where you stand today creates the foundation for making informed decisions about where you want to go and how to get there effectively. Assessment area. Key questions. Income sources. What percentage comes from each quadrant? How many hours generate each income stream? Sustainability. What continues without your direct work? Part 2. Setting your financial freedom goals. Financial freedom means different things to different people, yet most individuals struggle to transform their dreams into actionable plans. This section provides a systematic approach to defining your personal version of financial independence and creating measurable goals that bridge the gap between your current financial position and your desired future. You'll discover how to calculate exactly how much passive income you need, break down overwhelming objectives into manageable steps, and align your financial aspirations with your deepest values. By the end, you'll possess a clear roadmap with specific milestones that maintain motivation while ensuring steady progress toward true financial freedom. Understanding what financial freedom actually means forms the foundation of effective goal setting. Sarah, a marketing manager, discovered this when she initially defined financial freedom as having enough money to quit my job. This vague definition led to years of aimless saving without clear direction. When she refined her goal to generating $5,000 monthly passive income to cover living expenses while pursuing photography full-time, her actions became focused and measurable. Financial freedom isn't about accumulating the largest possible bank account. It represents the point where your passive income from the right side of the cash flow quadrant exceeds your living expenses. This definition shifts focus from net worth to cash flow, which aligns perfectly with quadrant thinking. What does your ideal day look like when money is no longer a primary concern? This question helps identify lifestyle goals that inform income requirements. Mike, a software engineer, realized his financial freedom meant spending mornings with his children, afternoons building his consulting business, and evenings pursuing music. This vision required $4,200 monthly to maintain his family's lifestyle without traditional employment. Calculating your financial freedom number requires honest assessment of current expenses plus desired lifestyle upgrades. Start by tracking every expense for 3 months to establish your baseline. Include housing, food, transportation, insurance, entertainment, and discretionary spending. Add 20 to 30% for lifestyle improvements and unexpected expenses. Consider inflation's impact on your calculations. What costs $4,000 monthly today will require approximately $5,400 in 10 years, assuming 3% annual inflation. Planning without inflation adjustments creates goals that lose purchasing power over time. The 25 times rule provides a helpful starting framework. Multiply your annual expenses by 25 to estimate the investment portfolio needed to generate sufficient passive income through a 4% withdrawal rate. If you need $60,000 annually, target $1.5 million in investments. This rule assumes traditional investment approaches and may require adjustment based on your specific strategy. How will you generate passive income to reach your financial freedom number? Different quadrant strategies require different capital amounts and timelines. Real estate investments might generate 8 to 12% annual returns but require substantial down payments. Business ownership could produce higher returns but demands active involvement during building phases. Setting effective financial goals requires the SMART framework: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Instead of, "I want to be rich," create goals like generate $3,000 monthly passive income from rental properties within 5 years by purchasing 1 property annually. Break large goals into milestone markers that maintain motivation. Jennifer's goal of building a $500,000 investment portfolio felt overwhelming until she created annual targets: $50,000 after year 1, $125,000 after year 2, and so forth. Each milestone celebration reinforced her commitment to the larger objective. Short-term goals create momentum for long-term success. Focus on 90-day objectives that build toward annual targets. Examples include eliminating credit card debt, saving emergency funds, starting side businesses, or making first investment purchases. These wins provide confidence for tackling bigger challenges. Priority ranking prevents goal overwhelm and resource spreading. List all financial objectives and rank them by impact and feasibility. High-impact, achievable goals receive immediate attention. Lower priority items wait until primary objectives show progress. What sacrifices are you willing to make to achieve financial freedom? This question reveals commitment level and helps identify sustainable approaches. David wanted to reach financial independence in 5 years, but wasn't willing to reduce his $800 monthly entertainment budget. Adjusting his timeline to 8 years created a more realistic and sustainable plan. Family involvement ensures everyone supports necessary changes. Hold family meetings to discuss financial goals, required sacrifices, and expected timelines. Children old enough to understand should know why certain purchases are delayed and how current choices support future freedom. Write compelling goal statements that inspire action during difficult periods. Instead of save money for investments, try build my family's financial fortress by investing $1,000 monthly, creating the passive income that lets me attend every school play and soccer game. Emotional connection sustains effort when motivation wanes. Visual reminders maintain focus amid daily distractions. Create vision boards, progress charts, or financial dashboards that display current status and target objectives. Place these reminders where you'll see them regularly. Tom's bathroom mirror displays his passive income target and current progress, reinforcing his commitment each morning. Regular review sessions keep goals relevant and achievable. Schedule monthly progress assessments and quarterly goal adjustments. Life changes, new opportunities, and shifting priorities may require timeline modifications or strategy pivots. Flexibility prevents abandoning goals when circumstances change. Goal alignment with personal values ensures long-term sustainability. Financial objectives that conflict with core beliefs create internal resistance and eventual abandonment. If family time matters most, avoid goals requiring 80-hour work weeks. If security takes priority, balance aggressive growth targets with conservative backup plans. Emergency planning protects goals from unexpected setbacks. Build contingency strategies for job loss, health issues, market downturns, or family emergencies. Goals with built-in flexibility survive disruptions that destroy rigid plans. The process of setting financial freedom goals transforms abstract dreams into concrete action plans. Clear objectives provide direction, milestones maintain motivation, and regular reviews ensure continuous progress toward the right side of the cash flow quadrant. Part 3. Taking your first steps to the right side. The journey from employee or self-employed to business owner and investor requires concrete action steps that build wealth without destroying current income sources. This transition demands careful planning, strategic thinking, and disciplined execution. Most people struggle with this shift because they lack a clear roadmap for taking their first steps safely. The following practical strategies provide tested methods for starting businesses with minimal risk, making smart initial investments, and building momentum toward financial freedom while maintaining stability in your current situation. The transition to the right side of the cash flow quadrant begins with smart business opportunities that require minimal startup capital and leverage existing skills. Sarah worked as a marketing manager for 5 years before starting a weekend consulting practice, helping small businesses with their social media presence. She began by offering services to 3 local restaurants for $200 per month each, working evenings and weekends while keeping her day job. Within 6 months, she had 8 clients and was earning an additional $2,400 monthly. The key was starting small, proving her value, and gradually building her client base. Digital businesses offer exceptional opportunities for low-risk entry into business ownership. Online courses, consulting services, and e-commerce stores can be launched with minimal investment. A teacher named Mark created an online course teaching basic computer skills to seniors, charging $97 per student. He spent $500 on course creation tools and marketing, then earned $8,700 in his first year with 90 students. The business operated entirely outside his regular teaching hours and required no physical inventory or office space. Service-based businesses often provide the fastest path to generating income because they leverage skills you already possess. Freelance writing, graphic design, bookkeeping, and home repair services can be started immediately with existing knowledge and minimal equipment. The most successful service businesses solve specific problems for defined customer groups rather than trying to serve everyone. What skills do you currently possess that others would pay to access or learn? Consider both professional expertise and personal hobbies that might translate into profitable services. Investment opportunities for beginners should focus on simplicity, diversification, and low fees. Index funds provide instant diversification across hundreds or thousands of companies with minimal investment requirements. Many brokerages now offer commission-free trading and allow you to start with as little as $100. Dollar cost averaging, where you invest the same amount regularly regardless of market conditions, reduces the impact of market volatility and removes the pressure of timing investments perfectly. Real estate investment trusts allow you to invest in real estate without buying physical properties. These investments typically pay higher dividends than stocks and provide exposure to commercial real estate, apartments, and other property types. Many REITs can be purchased through regular brokerage accounts just like stocks, making them accessible to beginning investors. Robo-advisors offer automated investment management for people who want professional portfolio management without high fees. Services like Betterment and Wealthfront create diversified portfolios based on your risk tolerance and time horizon, then automatically rebalance and reinvest dividends. These platforms typically charge 0.25% annually, significantly less than traditional financial advisors. The foundation of successful wealth building requires proper account structure and record keeping from day one. Business owners need separate business checking accounts to maintain clear separation between personal and business finances. This separation protects personal assets from business liabilities and simplifies tax preparation. Most banks offer business checking accounts with minimal fees and online banking features that track income and expenses automatically. Investment accounts should be opened with reputable brokerages that offer low fees and good customer service. Tax-advantaged accounts like IRAs and 401ks should be maximized before investing in taxable accounts. Roth IRAs provide tax-free growth and withdrawals in retirement, making them particularly valuable for younger investors who expect to be in higher tax brackets later. Record keeping becomes critical as you transition to business ownership and investing. Simple spreadsheets or accounting software like QuickBooks can track business income, expenses, and tax deductions. Investment tracking should include purchase dates, amounts, and current values to calculate returns and plan tax strategies. Many brokerages provide annual tax documents that simplify filing, but maintaining your own records provides better insight into performance. Time allocation between current responsibilities and new wealth-building activities requires careful planning to avoid burnout or neglecting existing commitments. The most successful transitions happen when people dedicate specific time blocks to new activities rather than trying to squeeze them into random spare moments. Morning hours before work, lunch breaks, and evening time slots can be scheduled for business development or investment research. How much time can you realistically dedicate to building wealth without compromising your current job performance or family relationships? Start with small, consistent time commitments rather than ambitious schedules you cannot maintain. Common mistakes that derail beginning wealth builders include overextending financially, neglecting due diligence, and expecting immediate results. Starting a business with borrowed money or depleting emergency funds creates dangerous financial pressure that often leads to poor decisions. Every investment should be researched thoroughly, understanding both potential returns and risks involved. Legitimate wealth building takes time, and expecting quick results often leads to speculation rather than sound financial strategies. Building momentum through early wins provides confidence and motivation for taking larger steps. Small successes, like earning your first $100 from a side business or seeing your first investment dividend, create positive reinforcement that encourages continued effort. Document these victories in a journal or spreadsheet to maintain perspective during challenging periods when progress feels slow. Lisa started by investing $50 monthly in an index fund while building a weekend pet sitting business. After 6 months, she had $320 in investments and was earning $400 monthly from pet care. These small wins gave her confidence to increase her investment contributions and expand her pet business to include dog walking services. 2 years later, she was earning $1,200 monthly from her business and had $2,400 in investments. The key to successful wealth building lies in consistent action rather than perfect timing or large initial investments. Starting small allows you to learn from mistakes when the consequences are minimal, building skills and confidence for larger opportunities. The most important step is simply beginning, even if your first business earns only $100 monthly or your first investment is only $50. HTML. Set up separate business checking account. Open investment account with low-fee brokerage. Start basic record-keeping system. Identify first business opportunity. Make first $100 investment. Schedule weekly time for wealth-building activities. Progress toward the right side of the cash flow quadrant requires patience, consistency, and focus on long-term results rather than immediate gratification. The transition period often involves working more hours initially as you build new income sources while maintaining current responsibilities. However, the extra effort invested in the beginning creates systems and income streams that eventually provide greater freedom and financial security than traditional employment alone. Part 4. Tracking progress and staying accountable. Building momentum through initial steps is just the beginning of your quadrant transition journey. Without proper tracking and accountability systems, even the most ambitious plans can lose direction and eventually fail. Many people start strong with new financial goals, but struggle to maintain consistency over months and years. The difference between those who successfully move to the right side of the quadrant and those who remain stuck lies not in their initial enthusiasm, but in their ability to measure progress, stay accountable, and adapt their strategies based on real results. This section provides practical frameworks for creating tracking systems that keep you focused and accountable. Partners who ensure you follow through on your commitments, ultimately turning your 90-day action plan into lifelong wealth-building habits. Sarah worked as a marketing manager and had ambitious plans to build passive income through real estate investing. She read books, attended seminars, and created detailed spreadsheets outlining her goals. For the first month, she tracked every expense and researched potential properties daily. By month 3, her tracking had become sporadic. By month 6, she had abandoned her plans entirely, convinced that real estate investing was too complicated. The problem was not her strategy, but her lack of consistent measurement and external accountability. Creating effective tracking systems starts with identifying the right metrics to monitor. Your key performance indicators should reflect movement between quadrants rather than just total income or net worth. Income diversification ratio measures what percentage of your total income comes from each quadrant. Calculate this monthly by dividing income from business ownership and investments by your total income. As you progress, this ratio should steadily increase. Passive income percentage tracks how much money you earn without active work. This includes rental income, dividends, royalties, and business profits that do not require your daily involvement. Start by calculating your current passive income percentage, which for most employees is 0. Set targets for increasing this percentage gradually over time. Net worth velocity measures how quickly your assets grow relative to your income. Calculate this by dividing your quarterly net worth increase by your quarterly income. This metric helps you understand whether you are building wealth faster than you are earning active income, which is essential for achieving financial freedom. What specific percentage of your income currently comes from passive sources? And what would reaching 25% passive income mean for your lifestyle and career choices? The most effective tracking systems are simple and sustainable. Create a monthly financial dashboard that takes no more than 30 minutes to update. Include your income by quadrant, total expenses, net worth, and key ratios. Many successful wealth builders use simple spreadsheets rather than complex software because consistency matters more than sophistication. Monthly financial check-ins should focus on 3 questions. What worked well this month? What did not work as expected? What will you do differently next month? Document specific actions taken, results achieved, and lessons learned. This creates a personal knowledge base that improves your decision-making over time. Quarterly reviews require deeper analysis. Assess whether you are on track to meet annual goals and identify any needed strategy adjustments. This is when you might decide to focus more heavily on business building if investments are not producing expected returns, or increase investment activities if your business is generating excess cash flow. Annual strategic planning sessions allow you to step back and evaluate your overall progress. Compare your current quadrant position to where you were 12 months ago. Celebrate significant achievements and identify the biggest obstacles that prevented faster progress. Use this information to refine your strategy for the upcoming year. Mike, a software engineer, started tracking his progress toward business ownership using a simple monthly dashboard. After 6 months, he noticed that his side consulting business was generating more profit per hour than his full-time job. This data gave him confidence to negotiate reduced hours at work and focus more time on building his consulting practice. Within 18 months, his consulting income exceeded his salary, enabling him to transition to full-time business ownership. Accountability partners provide external motivation and perspective that internal tracking systems cannot match. Choose someone who shares similar financial goals but is not in direct competition with your efforts. Your accountability partner should review your monthly progress, ask challenging questions about your strategies, and provide honest feedback about your performance. Effective accountability relationships require regular communication and mutual commitment. Schedule monthly calls or meetings to discuss progress, challenges, and next steps. Share your tracking dashboards and be prepared to explain any missed targets or changed priorities. The goal is not judgment, but support and encouragement to maintain consistency. Mastermind groups offer accountability plus collective wisdom from multiple participants. Join or create a group of 4 to 6 people who meet monthly to discuss financial progress and share strategies. Each meeting should include progress reports from all members and focused problem solving for specific challenges. Professional coaches provide structured accountability plus expertise in wealth building strategies. While coaching requires financial investment, the external perspective and specialized knowledge often accelerate progress significantly. Choose coaches who have successfully transitioned between quadrants themselves and can provide practical guidance based on real experience. How would having to report your financial progress to someone else each month change your daily decisions about spending, investing, and time allocation? Celebrating milestones maintains motivation during the long journey toward financial freedom. Recognize achievements such as reaching your first $1,000 in passive income, paying off debt, or making your first business sale. Celebrations should be proportional to the achievement and aligned with your financial goals rather than undermining them. Learning from setbacks is equally important as celebrating successes. When investments lose value or business ventures fail, document what happened and why. Analyze whether the setback resulted from poor strategy, bad execution, external factors, or simply bad luck. This analysis prevents repeating mistakes and builds resilience for future challenges. Market downturns and business failures are normal parts of wealth building. Successful quadrant transitions require maintaining long-term perspective during short-term difficulties. Your tracking systems should include notes about external factors affecting your progress, helping you distinguish between temporary setbacks and fundamental strategy problems. Emma's first rental property purchase seemed like a disaster when the tenants stopped paying rent and caused property damage. Instead of abandoning real estate investing, she documented every aspect of the experience. She learned about tenant screening, property management, and legal procedures. Her second property purchase incorporated these lessons and generated positive cash flow from the first month. Regular strategy adjustments keep your wealth-building plan relevant as circumstances change. New opportunities, changed regulations, shifts in market conditions, and personal life changes all require plan modifications. Your tracking system should flag when results consistently fall short of expectations, signaling the need for strategic review. Personal priorities often shift during quadrant transitions. Marriage, children, health issues, or career changes may require adjusting timelines or strategies. Flexibility in approach, while maintaining commitment to overall goals, prevents abandoning wealth-building efforts during life transitions. Building your personal knowledge base improves decision-making quality over time. Document investment research, business lessons, successful strategies, and relationship insights. This knowledge base becomes increasingly valuable as you face more complex financial decisions. Your accountability systems should evolve as you progress between quadrants. Early-stage tracking focuses on building habits and achieving small milestones. Advanced tracking examines business optimization, investment portfolio performance, and wealth preservation strategies. The key is maintaining systems that provide useful feedback without becoming burdensome administrative tasks. The journey from employee to financial freedom requires sustained effort over years or decades. Tracking progress and staying accountable transforms this challenge from an overwhelming goal into manageable monthly actions. Success comes not from perfect execution, but from consistent measurement, regular adjustment, and persistent forward movement despite inevitable obstacles and setbacks.